Ooh, you guys all know what it is about that little countdown thing. I'm really feeling it. That's like my favorite intro. I don't know. I feel like it gets me in the mood, gets me ready, gets my energy right for these long conversations that we end up having. Listen, you guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the Real Nathan Daly. You guys know I'm your law enforcement translator. I try to give you insight from the perspective of a law enforcement officer. For those who don't know, if you're new to the channel, this is a very interesting topic. I'm a 13-year law enforcement veteran. I like to give my insight on a lot of difficult topics and conversations. And you guys, listen, I really don't like the celebrity gossip stuff, but this is very unique. I like to prioritize my conversations based on things regarding the uh, Black community, regarding law enforcement, things associated with the two, Black empowerment. I like to kind of integrate them all into each other. So this is very interesting because it has a lot to do with the Black man's image. And I'm a very big advocate for the value and the importance of a man's image, especially a Black man's image, because I'm a Black man. And I deal with a lot of Black men throughout my career, Black boys, Black men, Black fathers. You guys also, if you haven't checked out that live stream that we did dedicated to Black men and Black fathers, please go and check it out. It was an excellent stream. We had great guests on there. But you guys, listen, we're talking about Will Smith tonight. Everybody is talking about it, but they're not going to talk about it the way I talk about it. They're not going to touch on the things the way I touch on it because I'm unique, I'm special. And I have a very different perspective to have, you guys. We're going to dive on a lot of bit of everything, specifically some of these theories. Now, listen, I tried to sit myself back a little bit because I wanted to see everything unfold properly. I wanted to get a very good understanding of what took place, why it took place. And oftentimes when chaos is going on, you guys, the best seat is the one furthest away so that you can actually absorb what's going on and see the bigger picture. And I decided to comment because I really wasn't. I was just kind of sitting back and watching the stuff. I decided to comment on it because there was a lot of talk in reference to what men can do to other men versus what men can't do to women versus what Black men can and cannot do to white men. So this whole conversation started to shift. And I think we started to miss the bigger picture, right? Was this really about the insult? Was it an insult? It was a joke, right? And I think sometimes we forget these are jokes. Is there history between Will Smith and Chris Rock? You know, we don't know. I don't know. Was this a reaction based on the joke that was made, or was this a reaction based on a buildup of things taking place, you guys? Will Smith, for all those who know, you know his history. Some of us, we know what we see, what they expose us to. There's a lot going on. You know, he displayed signs of a man that's very broken, a man that's going through a lot, a man that's very emotional, who has been dealing with a lot of issues in the Hollywood community. And I will say this, you guys, I wasn't going to say anything until I heard his speech that he gave. He gave a speech after the incident when he accepted the award. And then I started to see the bigger picture. This has less to do about the joke and more to do about the history of abuse that he's been taking through Hollywood, through his marriage, and his relationship as a father. So we're going to dive into that. And we're going to talk about how important therapy is. And a broken man, you guys, is a dangerous man. So before we get into the meats and potatoes of this discussion, I want to go through the chat real quick, see what you guys are talking about. Listen, bring your theories to the conversation. It's gonna be epic. Listen, you guys, as an investigator, when I'm looking at these things, there's a couple things that's going on. Obviously, we know that there is a criminal issue that took place that night. Yes, last night. We're talking about the actual assault. That is an assault, you guys. He could be charged for that. I'm going to tell you the dangers of that assault. Some people are trying to make it out to be not a big deal. Some people are congratulating Will Smith for what he did, you guys. What he did was absolutely wrong and unacceptable and should not be celebrated amongst our community. We have to talk about that. And also, we have to also praise Chris Rock for having a chin of gold, okay? And also having the fortitude of a champion. You know, not taking that incident and escalating it any further than it already went. He responded in a way that was very very admirable. And also, you got to give him praise. He could have dived deeper into that joke. It looked like he held himself back and reserved himself from insulting or creating an insult, because that would have been a retaliation. A lot of times comedians fight with words, they don't fight with hands. And comedians have the ability and the power to utilize their tongue, as we know, as a weapon, you guys. The tongue is a very powerful weapon. Your words have influence. Your words can manipulate people. You can control a person, have power over a person all through their words. And that's what this whole segment is going to be about: the power of a woman's words, the influence a woman has over a man. You guys, we see it all the time. I say this to people all the time. Nations, kingdoms have risen and fallen by the influence of a woman. And I think we don't give our women much credit. You guys, picking a partner in life has to be one of the most important things you can do as a man through marriage, relationship. What ends up happening is if you pick wrong, obviously, as a man, you choose the wrong type of woman, it can be detrimental for your career, for your life, for the decisions, for your children, for your family, for your legacy. So, that's one of the things I really, really want to touch on in this segment: the power and influence Jada Pinkett has. Some people don't see it. Some people look at it as Will Smith as just the guy who was defending his wife's honor and so forth and so on. You guys know, I see way past that. It's so much deeper than that. So much deeper than that. So before we get into it even further, let me go through the chat real quick. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, please hit the like button on your way in. We're gonna start off nice and early. Shout out to my brother Hakeem. Thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. Said quick flyby just to show support. Said have a good one. I appreciate it, Hakeem. If you want to come up later, let me know. You guys, we're not gonna sit on this too long, but we are going to dive into it. So I appreciate the super chat. Pound for pound, member of the channel. He said light and dark and faux and real and rich and poor and house and field and still in. The mindset of whites was confirmed in some respects last night. Yeah, what is he talking about? He's talking about the Jay-Z lyrics. He's talking about the Jay-Z lyrics about I'm not black, I'm OJ, right? The whole idea is that you could be a faux black man, a real black man, a rich black man, poor black man, a house black man, a field black man, right? And at the end of the day, what happened, you guys? He played into a stereotype. Will Smith played into the most dangerous stereotype that exists about black men, about black people, black men in general. What do they say about our black women? That they're loud, they're attitude problems, they are verbally abusive. He played right into a stereotype at the worst points in time on national television. We're talking about, who is Will Smith? He's an icon. He's a living legend. He has made a lot of amazing movies. He's influenced a lot of people. And look how he just, not only did he embarrass himself, he embarrassed black people. Now, when I say things like that, people get upset because they say black people aren't responsible for black people. That's not true, depending on who you talk about. You guys, when I travel and go places, I'm very well aware that my image is scrutinized. And my behavior, unfortunately, I always think in mind that I am a reflection of my family, a reflection of my parents, and also a reflection of the black community. So I make sure I conduct myself in a way to where I bring positive light to those things and those people that I care about. So again, you have a responsibility to yourself as an individual, and then also to the collective. If you don't think that way, I mean, to each his own. I'm not mad at that. Daughter Yah says she thinks he did it out of fear of Jada. What's interesting is I think that's a very great point. I think that's a great point. If you guys didn't see Jada's facial expressions, her facial expression said it all. See, after the joke was made, the camera panned to Will. We're gonna bring it up. We're gonna play the video because I want you guys to see this. And then let's break it down. And I'm gonna give you guys my in-depth analysis. Here are my theories. Let me discuss my theories first. As an investigator, you guys, what do? We look at all angles. Nothing is off the table, no matter how far-fetched, how crazy it might sound. When you want to seek the truth, you look for all the evidence. And sometimes you look at the lie. The lie is always where the truth resides. I tell people that all the time. The lie is where the truth is. And so here's the conspiracies. Here are the different conspiracies, guys. Follow me and let me know your thoughts. Conspiracy 1, 2, and 3, you guys. Number 1, this was all a hoax, right? This was all for publicity. It was a publicity stunt for the Oscars. You guys don't know this, but a lot of these award shows, their ratings have been in the toilet. You know, you have people on YouTube who garner more ratings and more eyes, more viewership than some of these television broadcasts, right? They're having a hard time broadcasting these shows on television. They're not doing well because social media, because of channels like YouTube are overshadowing. People are no longer investing their time. And let's just be honest, the Oscars are boring. A lot of these award shows are boring. People complain because they're not really inclusive, right? You have a lot of minorities complain, and the Black community complain about not getting equitable treatment when it comes to being acknowledged. So, you know, there's been a lot of bad publicity in reference to that. So one theory is that this is a stunt. This was all a stunt in order to bring, I guess you could say, some sort of a value back into the Oscars. Who do they use to carry out their deeds, right? They use the people they're bought and sold, right? These actors, these people in Hollywood. You know, for those who know. You know, I've known a few people who worked in the industry through law enforcement, and they'll tell you that they belong to the people in charge. And so when they say we need you to make a particular they need to make an example out of you, or they need to use you in order to gain more attention, they use you. So some people call them handlers, right? When you're getting paid millions of dollars and they say, hey, we need you to kind of give us a distraction. We need you to do something to get this attention. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. So maybe, right? That's my first theory. Because as intelligent as Will Smith is, it's very hard to believe that he would have done something like this. What is that? Nathan Daly, $2 for Krispy Kreme donut. Did she drop $2? Daughter, y'all, you are so amazing. I appreciate that. Let me turn this on. Make sure I miss these. Thank you guys so much for the donations, you guys. I really, really appreciate it. Solomon, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this donation. I really appreciate it. Yes, you guys, this is going towards my donut fund. You guys know I have a horrible sweet tooth. Horrible sweet tooth. Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Solomon. So that's my first theory, you guys. What is the second theory? Theory number 1. This was orchestrated by the Oscars because they're down on their luck, right? They're not getting the viewership. Who do they call, right? They call the people they own to make these stunts in order to bring attention and value back. Look how much we are talking about the Oscars, right? You have some content creators I've seen on here. They have over 2,000 subscribers, and they replayed a video from the Oscars, and that video has over 2 million views. Not only that, right? You look at how much they're talking about it now. People are sharing the clips. Look what the Oscars are going to be next year. People are going to be just that much excited to go and to tune in because they're going to want to see something crazy, some outlandish antics that's going to make them interesting. What do people know that we know? What do people know? We know that any type of antics or drama, any type of violence, those things garner a lot of attention. Attention equals dollars, and these people know that. They are trying to basically bring the Oscars back from the dead. So what's my second theory? My second theory is, as we know, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett have a very unique relationship. I think that the relationship is very toxic. I see a man that's a victim of abuse. And a lot of people can't really imagine that, but what I see is abuse, you guys. I see clear-cut abuse. And a lot of men are abused emotionally, verbally, by women in situations like this. And so this is one of the things I really want to touch on. Let's play the video real quick because I want to show you the expression, the facial expression Jada Pinkett made. See, when the camera panned on Will Smith, he tried to laugh it off. You can see the laughter, but you see the pain as well, right? You see him going through both of them at the same time. You see Jada Pinkett roll her eyes, and within a moment, he said, Gabe said, Will is no victim. It depends on how you look at it. Depends on how you look at it. Is Will a victim? It depends on how you look at it. It depends on how you look at it. Let's take a look at this. Because let's be honest, you guys. Will Smith said that Jada Pinkett has alopecia. She's losing her hair. It is a medical condition. And granted, Chris Rock made a joke. You guys, alopecia is not cancer. Alopecia is not I guess one would call like some sort of a disability, right? Some sort of like lupus, some sort of spinal type of disorder or something where it's sad and it's unfortunate. Jada Pinkett's getting older. She's losing her hair and she's bald, right? She's going bald. I'm not really sure which one because alopecia is a mixture of a couple different things. It's not cancer, you guys. Would Chris Rock go up there and make a joke about cancer? Absolutely not. He'd have the whole cancer organization on his back. Some are even bold enough to make jokes about the LGBT community, like Dave Chappelle. People know there are certain boundaries. Even as comedians, people argue a comedian's job. Okay, I stand indifferent. Wes Anderson said it's an autoimmune disease. I did not know that. I'm about to look into that more. So autoimmune disease, which is a thing. So I'm guessing something in the body is attacking the hair follicles, causing them to not grow. I don't know the science behind alopecia. But this is the reality of being a celebrity, you guys, and it doesn't make it right, but they get attacked all the time. People make jokes about them all the time. I don't think this was about the joke about the hair. I think this was more so about the buildup of stress Will Smith has been going through, and I'm gonna tell you why. Let's go ahead and loved it. Let's go ahead and add this real quick because I want to discuss this. I want you to see the facial expressions. I want to point out something very interesting about Jada Pinkett, and then we're gonna dive into unfold all these theories. I'm curious. It's a loss of hair. It is a loss of hair. It's just let's play this.
I love the part where it said, King Lear don't got nothing on me. Y'all gotta see it. It's really good. You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem. He can. Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
All right. Here we go with the eye roll. In this moment, what is Will Smith thinking? I can't believe this Negro said this, right? We don't know, you guys. I think the problem with celebrities is we don't know the before and the after, right? We don't know what's going on in their relationship. We see what we see, but we don't know what led up to this. We don't know what's been going on in their marriage, what's been going on just in general. But this Will Smith, listen, it was maybe about 5 seconds later after the joke was told, he went up on stage. You can see the change in Chris Rock's face. He's like, oh, here comes Richard, right? Now, Jada Pinkett did not like the joke at all. And she immediately knew something deeper. To me, I feel like there was something deeper going on with that. It's almost as if the joke resonated with her too quickly. So it makes me wonder if there was something behind the scenes between her and Chris Rock, right? Something that's been going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. But the joke resonated with her way too fast. Everyone was laughing. Everyone was laughing. And then let's play this.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh.
All right. Look how quick that was. He said, oh, right. He realized something was wrong when Will started going up on stage. You guys, listen, I was awake when this happened, when it came out. I was watching it. And I thought it was part of the joke until the slap hit. I knew that was a real slap. I could tell that was a real slap. And slapping another man is probably one of the most disrespectful things you can do. I've had to slap somebody once, a man, one time in my life. And as a man, you know that slapping another man is one of the greatest forms of disrespect, next to spitting on him, right? Men know this. Men know this. All right, so here we are. Chris Rock understands that Will Smith's on his way up. People in the audience think it's a joke until he gets hit. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I noticed I thought was very interesting. Look at Will Smith's facial expressions on his way back. That's how I recognized that it was real.
Richard! Oh, wow! Wow!
The problem I have with this, you guys, is what is the responsibility of a wife to a man? Right? What is the responsibility? I was told a long time ago that a man is like a sword and a woman is like the sheath to that sword, right? A man is a sword, a woman is the sheath of the sword. You guys, again, one of the most important things we can do in our lifetime is choosing a good mate, choosing a good partner. A woman has so much influence over the actions of a man. Chemo said, looks fake to me. Looks fake to me. Even if it is fake, you guys, we're going to argue both sides. We're going to argue both sides. We're going to first argue from the direction of it being real, like this is real. Because a lot of times people don't understand that if this is fake, let's talk about that real quick. If this is fake, look at the side operation that was done on the American people, on people in general, right? We're talking about the psychological operation that was done. When people do things like that, when people in Hollywood make fake things look real and they make it come off as if it's real so that we believe it's real, you have to ask yourself why. What is going on in our country or in the world? Why we need to be sedated? Because Hollywood is created to sedate us. The media is used to sedate people and distract us from things that are really going on behind the scenes, right? So, and it's working. If this is fake, it's working because everyone is talking about it. Hell, even me, even me. All right. Shout out to Lucchese. Thank you so much, Lucchese, for the super sticker. If this is fake, then there's a reason for it. And we are falling for it. But we're going to argue both sides, you guys. We're going to argue from the angle of it being real and this being fake. If it's being fake, we're going to argue the conspiracy behind it. If it's real, this is the argument, you guys. If it is real, this uncovers a lot of issues in regards to emotion, in regards to rage, the power and the influence of a person's words. A woman, his wife, Jada Pinket, her actions. What did she do? She did nothing. That is an action. An action, absence of movement, all right? The no action is an action. What did she do? She looked at him. Could she have said something? Possibly. Listen, that sister, what is her name? That's not Lupita. Is that Lupita? The black lady who was sitting next to them. She's who we need to talk to. What was the conversation like? What did Jada say? We saw her roll her eyes. But Jada's very poised. She's very diva-ish. She's very elegant in her demeanor. She probably didn't need to say anything. What has she always wanted? A Tupac. Jada's always wanted a Tupac, and Will knows this. Will is no Tupac. He's not. You know, my mom always said you have to be wary of a woman who wants a gangster and a gentleman. They don't go together. She gave him that look, like if this was Tupac, Pac would have went up there and handled business. This is the problem. The power Jada has over Will. We're talking about a complete emasculation. He went up there and he embarrassed himself. Will completely embarrassed himself, his family, right? Not just that, the Oscars, who cares about them? But what was a nominee Oscar award that he got for King Richard? That was a very powerful movie, you guys, about a black man who raised, with the help of his wife, of course, right? But it was about a black man and his influence on his daughters, who were tennis champions, who were living legends to this day. He went up there and embarrassed that man's name. He embarrassed the Williams family, all because he couldn't control himself. One would argue that maybe this was an emotional response, or maybe he was told to do it. That's the conspiracy side. Maybe Will was told to do it. The timing couldn't have been much worse, you guys. This is such a bad look for black men, black people in general. You mean to tell me out of all the insults this man has endured over his career, he took this time to go up and slap another black man in the face on national television? He could have addressed it afterwards behind the scenes and slapped him then, and we would have heard about it. But on national television? The conspiracy theorist in me says, right? What do you guys think? Was Will Smith told to do this, or was this a real reaction? Right? Was he told to do this? Because if he was told to do this, and this is the conspiracy side of it, it's a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem. What else? Was this really? Chris Rock did look like he was waiting for it. He leaned into it. He leaned into it. From a criminal aspect, what do I see as an investigator, you guys? From a criminal aspect, I see you, bro, in the back. From a criminal aspect, what do I see, you guys? This could have easily. Now Will Smith's gonna have some blowback, right? He apologized. What makes this criminal? If Chris Rock decides to press charges, if he does not decide to press charges, this means nothing. This means nothing. You guys, you don't have a crime without a victim. Chris Rock is the only victim. If he chooses not to enforce any type of law against Will Smith, then there's nothing, you guys. Absolutely nothing. He got slapped and took one for the team. Now, where's the problem? Okay, he can get, I'm sure there's some penalties the Oscars can do, right? But then what else could be a problem? He can lose endorsements. He can lose movie deals behind this. There's a lot of things that can happen behind the scenes with Will Smith, you know. But the reality is this: the criminal aspect only moves if Chris Rock moves. I don't see Chris Rock moving on this. I don't. I really don't. Let me continue to play the video, though, because I want you to see what Chris Rock does. The man plays it off like a champ. Shout out to Chris Rock.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Get my name out your fucking mouth.
Listen, I always say this. It's hard to take these actors seriously when they're engaging in things like this because they're actors. They're all actors. They are all actors. And look at, I know her. I can't remember her name. She's an actress. But they're all actors. Could you imagine a man who's always held and praised for being so calm, for being so patient? He's idolized and loved and revered as this amazing black man, amazing black father. And then oh, that is Lupita, right? That's Lupita. That's right. Shout out to Lupita. We need to highlight her. What went down? I don't think, you guys, honestly, I don't think she said anything to Will. I think she looked at him. I think that's the power Jada Pinkett has over Will Smith. I think she just looked at him. Her eye rolling, her behavior, the way her tone. She's sitting up straight. You guys, she never stopped him. That is my problem with this entire thing. She never stopped him, right? She never went up there and stopped him from going up. She never did anything. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the conspiracy side of it, that this was orchestrated. This was orchestrated for us, right? The conspiracy behind this is this was designed to sedate the people watching. And we are buying into it. We're feeding into it. No one's talking about the other side. Everybody right now is talking about the slap and about their relationship, domestic drama, you guys. It's deeper than that. It's way much deeper than that. And I can see it in plain sight. You know? So look at his behavior. And I'm going to play another video because I want you to hear what he said. This is what changed the whole thing for me.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay.
All right. Chris Rock had a moment. What was that moment? He realized that he could bury Will Smith in an onslaught of insults disguised as jokes. It feels like Chris Rock might be the only one who didn't get the memo about this incident. Right? Let's talk about how real this might be. Chris Rock could have destroyed Will Smith in front of everybody, you guys. He could have eviscerated him in front of everyone. Chris Rock is no fool when it comes to joke making. He's good at what he does. He's good at what he does. Let's talk about how powerful of a man Chris Rock is. We have to pay homage to this gentleman because he responded in the way that he did. Listen, the professionalism Chris Rock showed was beyond me, you guys. That's Chick-fil-A level professionalism, right? We all know how professional Chick-fil-A employees are, right? The man got slapped in the face. He could have buried him in jokes. And in that moment, you see him, he shook it off. Chris Rock was like, nah, you know what? Let me be the bigger man. Look at his facial expression.
Okay.
You guys, he could have buried him. He buried him. And he chose not to. He chose not to.
That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. So we are here to give a documentary out.
You know that hit hurt though, because you see his mouth's a little bit. He's hurting. Chris Rock is hurting, and I think we recognize how talented Chris Rock is. I think Chris Rock is this whole thing right here. What did Trash Can Wave say? The ratings, you guys. The Oscars have been suffering from poor ratings. Look it up. I remember they talked about this a couple years ago. You know, they couldn't handle all the things with the pandemic. They are suffering. Then you had people, artists, black artists, boycotting these award shows because they feel like they're not being treated like equitable treatment across the board. They feel like they've been cast aside and not getting the respect that they deserve. You guys, and who do they use to bring the Oscars off of life support? Black people, right? They use the black man who was up for an amazing award for his role in King Richard. Powerful black movie showcasing a black father who, and even in his flaws, he had a love for his family. You know, one of the things that Will Smith chimes on lets me know that this is deeper, obviously, than what we see. at the same time, we got to argue from both sides, the fake side and the real side. We're going to hit on the real side right now. And then you guys, I'm going to dive into the conspiracy, right? And then I'm going to bring a gentleman up. We're going to break this thing down. We're going to really dissect this from a multitude of different layers. It's a multi-layered issue. Again, not to disrespect alopecia, those who have alopecia, any medical condition is not anything that we should be joking. Listen, with all due respect, you guys, I started thinning out on my stuff because of a condition I had with my thyroid. Just all transparency. My brother still got his hair. My brother older than me. Man, from my older brothers still got their hair. So, my condition, right? Folks clown me all the time, but luckily I still look good with a bald head. So, I get it. But did that joke, right? What is the bigger picture here? Censorship, you guys. Look at it deeper than what we see now. This country has already been going in a direction of censoring First Amendment speech. And all we need to do is justify it. This sounds like this could possibly open the door. Comedians talk about all the time that First Amendment is under attack as comedians. They've always had a leverage over comedy. As Monica said. Thank you, Monica. I appreciate that. The bald heads are winning, you guys. Bald heads are winning. Shout out to Braves Club. He said black on black crime. It's acceptable, right? Because is black on black crime on television acceptable? That's a good question. I need to say that. I'm gonna get back to that. Here's the problem. Comics have First Amendment privileges. They tell stories through their jokes, right? They're able to talk about political issues, tough issues that we're going through, and bring humor out of it. One would say that power is very influential. That power can also move people in a direction. You guys, words have power. And if used properly, you can raise an army with them. Right? Look at what Dave Chappelle does. He does it all the time. He's a master of words. I call people like that word wizards, you guys. They use words. They use words in a way to influence you. It can either encourage, discourage, create depression, uplift, inspire. When you listen to some of these comedians talk like your Dick Gregory's, right? They can move people, you guys. They're wordsmiths. Said wordsmiths, come on. You guys, listen. It's deeper than that. What is Chris Rock going to say?
To give an Oscar out for Best Documentary. Now, the beauty of documentaries, because they make you, when you watch one, you feel smart. Like you watched them, like you read a book or something. But all you really did was get high and watch Netflix. So here we go. He
played that off. I think, this leads me into the second piece. I want to touch on this video real quick, you guys, because it's going to talk about what did Jose say? Are they trying to recondition us? Maybe you're right. Think about it. We won't know until we see the follow-up. We won't know until we see the follow-up, right? And what is the follow-up, you guys? The follow-up is simple. What's gonna spawn out of this situation in regards to this incident here? What could they easily say? Hold on one second, you guys. 1 second. Oh, he calling me around. My crazy nephew. What is the issue? One of the biggest problems, you guys, that we never see the things that are beyond the surface. Beyond the surface. Again, we're talking about the power and influence of words, the power and influence of media, and how it has an impact on us and our lives each and every day. What do I see? I see this thing going a lot of different ways. You can now stand behind an issue like this and say, hey, listen, what Chris Rock said was unacceptable. He should not have joked about her condition, alopecia. Chris Rock said he didn't know that that's what it was, right? That she had that issue. This could be a new movement of censorship, you guys, on comedians. On comedians. Here's the issue I had with Will Smith. Listen to his response after the slap. Now, mind you, Jada Pinket said nothing. She allowed her husband to get up and then go address Chris Rock. Her power and influence in that moment, she agreed with it. She wanted him to go out there and do something, even after he got back. Even after he was yelling at her and doing all that, you see she's in agreement. And this picture is going to show it all. Let me pull this photo up because you'll see exactly what I mean by this, you guys. You know, listen, as investigators, what do we do the most? We study people's, let me pull it up in this right here. We study body language. We study body language. Let me see if it'll let me zoom in. All right, check this out. I think you guys will understand exactly what I mean when I say this. This is such a bad photo. I couldn't even find the real photo. Hold on, let me see. All right, that's a horrible picture. Let me see if I can zoom in. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Nah. Hang tight, you guys. Let me show you this photo real quick about, I think this is going to, let me do this better. Remove this. Here we go. All right. I want to show you this photo of Jada Pinket. And this will explain exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Yes. Pull this up. If you guys don't understand this part right here, this is going to really, really send it home for you. Jada Pinket has power. And in the moment where she is actually allowing Will Smith to come out here and embarrass himself, all for the sake of her own pride, her own self-interest. There it is. All right, here we go. There we go. Listen, I understand this, you guys. I'm trying to tell you. This is what makes it so dangerous. This is power. This is power. This is what power looks like. This is power personified. Her body language. Her body language. Look at her face. She's not calming him down, right? She's not looking at him. She is looking at Chris. She is almost as like she's channeling herself. She's channeling her anger, her frustration through Will. She's channeling her anger and her frustration through Will towards Chris. Should a man stand up for his wife? Absolutely. She's not embarrassed at all. Thank you. Pound for pound. She's not embarrassed. This is what she wanted, you guys. This is power personified. This is what control looks like. When you see a puppet, you only need to chase after the strings and you'll see the puppeteer. What is she doing? This is acknowledgement. This is acknowledgement. Right? Will Smith is the puppet, you guys. And a very bad one, actually. You know, when she rolled her eyes in disgust, she felt completely irritated. She said, "How dare do something? You need to do something." Will was laughing, trying to play it off. He knew. One would say he went home and got scolded. You guys, you don't always have to tell someone to do when you have power. When you have power over someone, sometimes a look is all that's needed. A look. A look is all that's needed in order to get a reaction or a behavior out of someone. A look. My father and my grandfather rarely had to put their hands on me. A look was all that was needed. My mom, though, I made her work for an ass whooping. She had to work for it. You know, I'd run up the wall backwards. It's something about true power. You never have to say anything. Look at her look, you guys. It's powerful, man. It's powerful. When I saw that, I knew something was wrong. She've always wanted a Tupac. She always wanted a Tupac. And she said it before. She has embarrassed this man. She has emasculated this man in public, behind the scenes. And he's been taking it. You guys, this is abuse. Men are abused too. Men are abused too. You can't make this up. She wanted this. She condoned this behavior. If, from a criminal aspect, you guys, what do I look at? What do I look at? Some people are cheering this on in our community. This is toxic, you guys. This isn't healthy behavior. This isn't something that we should be condoning and glorifying. I've seen some tweets. I've seen some comments. People are like, yeah, he's supposed to stand up for his woman. No, not like that. He could have championed the cause behind the scenes a lot different than this. Not like this, you guys. What do I see? What do I see? What if, right? We talk about what do you have to lose? What does he have to lose? What if, and you guys, I've seen this. I've seen men go to prison behind the antics of a woman, right? A woman starting a fight, being insulting and disrespectful to another man, right? And then putting their boyfriend or their husband in an uncompromising position to where now the man has to come out here and defend the honor of the woman. What have I seen, you guys? I've seen men go to prison behind it. And that woman leaves the next day and she's with somebody new. What have I seen? What could have happened? What if he hit him so hard he knocked him out? He knocked him out. Chris Rock falls backwards and then he hits his head. Now he's unconscious, right? What if he hit his head and he passed away, you guys? That's manslaughter. All because a man couldn't control his emotions. You guys, what is the real issue? A lot of us as Black men have what I call the RBM syndrome, raised by moms. Raised by moms. And we start responding and reacting to things through emotion. Where's this abuse coming from? The man's been emasculated for the greater part of his marriage. Why do I say that, you guys? This leads into the next video, and I'm gonna bring my guest up. We're gonna have a dive-in conversation for you guys, and this brother is gonna blow you away. And you're gonna watch how we're gonna pick this whole thing apart. Check this video out, and then I want to know what you think. This explains it all, you guys. Pay attention. Pay attention to the words that he's saying. Focus on what he's talking about. Yeah, someone said, daughter Yao says she definitely wears the pants and the strap. For those who know, she wear the pants and the strap. She probably got it under the dress right now.
Now, I know to do what we do, you got to be able to take abuse. You got to be able to have people talk crazy about you. In this business, you got to be able to have people disrespecting you. And you got to smile and you got to pretend like that's okay. I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow.
Will Smith says, in this business, you have to be okay with people. Yeah. Someone said, what do you mean by the strap? For those who know, right? For those who know. Most wives have influence over their husband. Yes, they do. That goes to the point I was making earlier. Most wives have influence over their husbands. You guys, and I'm gonna go back to this video. Let's dive into what he said real quick. Most wives have influence over their husband. Yes, that's what I mean. That's what this whole thing is about. You pick a woman that is supposed to uplift and have influence. Real men know the value of a woman, right? Real men know the importance of a woman. A woman has the ability to amplify a man. That's the beauty of a woman. That's her true, that's her talent. That's her God-given gift to take what a man has and multiply it, amplify it. So if you give a woman gold, she will amplify it. If you give a woman crap, she'll give you shit, right? That's the power of a woman. If you give her a seed, she'll give you a child. She'll amplify, she'll create life. She orchestrates life in her body. The power of a woman, the power of a woman's influence, right? A woman always has a man's ear. She can use that to build a nation or tear one down. A woman can help you build a kingdom or have your kingdom fall apart. One would argue a lot of the most great, powerful men have fallen behind a woman. Yep. Just recently, we see Chris Brown, a self-made man, right? Almost lost it all. And in court today, battling over some foolishness behind a woman because of his lack of discipline now. Granted, that's him. Women have power, you guys, influence. She sat down and let him go up there, not only embarrass himself, not only did he embarrass himself, he embarrassed his family. He embarrassed Black people. He embarrassed the Williams family. He embarrassed that movie, right? He embarrassed his legacy. She allowed that. She allowed that. One will know what the outcome of this is going to be, right? One will only know what this outcome is going to be moving forward. There's so many different directions this can go in, you guys. But what did he say? Will Smith is talking about how difficult he's been having a hard time. This brother needs therapy, you guys. And this is why I tell you this. Crimes of passion are a real thing. There's nothing more dangerous than a broken man, because a broken man doesn't fear breaking anything else, right? When you're broken on the inside, you become a threat to other people. He's talking about how Hollywood creates an environment to where you got to just take it. You got to take it. The insults, disrespect. As a man, you're supposed to just take it. This is what he's saying. He is giving you guys a warning. Anytime you see a broken man acts out of violence, right? That's usually the first indicator when a man is getting ready to do something stupid, you guys. Violence. Violence, when men show violence through behavior, it is a cry for help. You see it through juvenile boys all the time. They act out in deviant behavior because they can't express themselves, or they're dealing with so much negative emotions that they have no outlet. People will be the first one shocked if Will Smith does something very stupid. People are shocked. Mental health is a real thing, you guys. It's a real thing. What you saw at the Oscars was a cry for help. He says it right here. People miss it. He says it right here.
Now, I know to do what we do, you got to be able to take abuse. You got to be able to have people talk crazy about you. In this business, you got to be able to have people disrespecting you.
It's a man fed up. He's fed up. A man who has lost everything will destroy everything. This is a broken man, you guys. A broken man who needs help. A lot of people are kind of going different ways with this. He needs help. He needs help. I've seen this all too often. This is a cry for help. He can't take it anymore. He's at his boiling point. A man who's lived his entire life, adult life, in Hollywood and show business. He lost it, you guys. He went up on stage and slapped the piss out of Chris Rock from a joke. Will Smith's a comedian himself. He's falling from the pressure. He's falling from the pressure. What did Ibri say? Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto woman, nor thy way to that which destroyeth kings. Whew. I'm about to look that proverb. Let me write that down. I'm about to, you guys, when you guys send me scriptures, I always off screen, I always double back. Why does it say don't give it to women? Don't give the strength unto a woman. Why? Because women lead with emotions. Emotions can be manipulative in nature. Emotions could be absent of logic. Thank you for that. It's a very powerful scripture. Thank you for that donation too. You guys, listen, if you're just jumping in on the channel, we're talking about the nuances between Will Smith, Chris Rock, Jada Pinket, the Oscars, life. The nuances. Are we being manipulated? Or was this real? Was this real? Or was this a psyop on the people? Is this a distraction? Hollywood is known to use distractions to sedate its people. What are they distracting us from? There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. Listen, we're going to talk about the dynamics between men and women. We're going to talk about what this means about men. We're going to dive into him. I got a friend I'm going to bring up. This brother Sharp. He's sharp. What does Will say? We'll finish up and I'm going to bring him up. Let him introduce himself to you guys. And we're going to dive into this. What is yes. He wants to say yes. Shout out to therapy. You guys, this is serious. This is serious. This is an outcry. A lot of men use violence as a way to outcry because they can't get their emotions. They're not being heard. Where's he not being heard at? At home, you guys. At home. At home. At home. She said, but I like Miss Vicky. Shout out to Miss Vicky. What does Will say? We have to take this. You can't take it, you guys. It's you know, being a celebrity is a big deal. You gotta have tough skin. You got to be strong spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You got to be all across the board. And if your home is out of order, your place, your rest, your haven, your place of peace, your place of comfort, your spouse is supposed to be those things for you. And even in there, in that home, in your place where you're supposed to be peace, it's chaos. It's chaos. As a man, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go. He's crying out for help.
And you got to smile and you got to pretend like that's okay.
That pretending stuff.
I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees. This is a beautiful moment, and I'm not crying for winning an award. It's not about winning an award for me. It's about being able to shine light on all of the people, Tim and Trevor and Zach and Sanaya and Demi and Ingenue and the entire.
This is not true. You know, this is not true. Chris Rock is the victim. This is not true. Chris Rock has to file a report and file charges against Will Smith. So this is not true, you guys. No victim, no crime. Why do you think they pay victims off? Right? Crimes happen, people see it, and then someone says behind the scenes, we worked it out. Chris Rock is the victim. He was assaulted. That's simple battery. If he's bruised, that's battery. Chris Rock has to file the charges. No charges, no crime, no complaint. Is he going to file charges against Will Smith? No, absolutely not. Believe it or not, in our culture, it would make him look weak, right? It'll make him look weak. I don't know what else Will say after this. Let me play this
Cast and crew of King Richard and Venus and Serena, the entire Williams family. Art imitates life. I look like the crazy father.
Okay, let me touch on that real quick. Shout out to For Me Tarrant. I would love for you to come up later on and have that discussion about deviancy and sociology. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. We're going to talk about our community and deviance behavior. There's a theory called anomie, the anomie theory, right? We use in sociology and criminology. Anomie talks about the breakdown of society's morals to where we start to look at certain things as being okay now, right? It's okay to be deviant, right? You break down these things, these moralities, as time goes on. Society dictates what's normal, what's okay, what's not okay. You know, there's a problem within our community, within the Black community, that we have to really discuss, right? Why are people uplifting what Will Smith did? Why are they congratulating him? Why are they saying, hey, don't talk about another man's wife? You guys, that's no justification to walk on stage and slap somebody in the face. Will Smith said something that's so interesting. He said, art sometimes imitates life. That's dangerous. He's talking about as an actor. You get so caught up playing a role. He played King Richard. He talks about that King Richard loved his family. He would do anything for them. He talked about the power of being a father and having the love for his family, guys. This is why when you see men who can't handle their emotions in regards to women, they'll delete their wives, right? They'll delete their wives and then delete their children because of their unstable emotions, because this sick, twisted understanding of what love is. Some men have a weird, twisted view on love, and not just love, possession. You're mine, no one else's, right? He says sometimes art imitates life. Think of the role that Will Smith played. Let's break down the psychosis behind this. You're playing the role of a father. You took this emotional stance to. He resonated with King Richard. He resonated with something about this role. It hit Will Smith in a weird way, you guys. And I've been watching one, I love the movie, but then I was also watching some interviews, watching how he felt about the relationship he ended up developing with the Williams sisters. Something interesting happened. What would it look like, you guys, if you as an actor have to play a character that you wish you could be in real life, that you wish you could emulate in real life, and only to realize a constant comparison of the family or the fatherhood that you could not duplicate in your own life as a father. You guys, I think it's so much deeper, and I think we're missing a lot of things with this. Will Smith gravitated to this role, and he took a liking towards King Richard, almost a sad jealousy in a sense. I see him acting out. Why does he say? He says, look, King Richard, he loved his family. He would do anything for them. Will Smith is still in that character, wishing he had the mentality of King Richard, wishing he had the strength, the pride of King Richard. Will Smith is telling you in this moment, he wished he was more like him. You guys, I see it plain as day. Art imitates life. He wished he was King Richard. He wished he had the mental fortitude of what that man represented in his own marriage. Sometimes we like to act out certain roles that contradict our insecurities. You get to place a character that you wish you really were. You really wish you had that type of love. You really wish you had the type of strength as a man King Richard had. He said art sometimes imitate life. King Richard would have walked on stage and slapped the shit out of somebody. Will Smith would not have, you guys. Will Smith is playing a character, King Richard. Will Smith would never have the balls to go on stage and put his hands on anybody. King Richard would. And again, he's emulating. There's no excuse. This is not a discussion about excuse. This is the psychosis, you guys. Take a look. What's your theory? I challenge you. Listen what he says. Listen what he says. He said art sometimes imitates life. Who else have we seen this? We've seen this with the guy who played Joker. Method acting, you guys, is what they call it. When you try so hard, you have to get up every day and be the person you're acting. When the movie Selma came out, the guy who played Martin Luther King, I can't remember his name, he's a British actor. He said even after they were done filming, He stayed in the role. He was playing Martin Luther King, Heath Ledger. That's right. That's another one. We're going to talk about that. Method acting. You guys, it's deep. Let's dive into it. I told you guys we're going to dive into it. Listen, when I tell you we diving deep, I'm pulling you in the deep end. I'm challenging you to see things beyond what you see. Method acting. When that gentleman played Martin Luther King, he said he was walking around calling people crackers and stuff, right? He had to maintain that role. He maintained the Southern accent even after they were filming. Look it up. Look it up. He maintained that role. Heath Ledger was doing drugs. He tried to dive into the persona of a psychopath in order to give you such an award-winning performance. We call the Joker. It's dark. I had an acting instructor tell me that he had to play a role of an abusive husband, you guys. He found himself stressed and depressed. He found himself acting violent in his own relationship. You guys, you invoke this spirit on you when you get into these characters. You think about what it's like, a life of trying to emulate different personas and to make it look believable. On the receiving end as being entertained, we take it for a joke, you guys. I took an acting class for 4 months, and it was the most difficult thing I have done. And I wasn't good at it. Just keeping it real. What did I learn? I learned that it's a very difficult job. Now, when I watch shows and movies, I have the utmost respect for actors and actresses. It's not easy, you guys, to be someone you're not. It's not easy to pretend to be someone you are not and make it look believable. Listen, Will Smith got stuck in a role he admired, and that was on full display in the Oscars. He admired King Richard. He said art can sometimes imitate life. You guys, he's telling you what it is. That was not Will Smith up there. That was King Richard. He admired what that man stood for, and that man would lay hands on anyone who disrespected his family. Well, folks are like, listen, Will Smith been getting disrespected for the longest now. Ain't say 2 words. He be at the red table talk, taking it like a champ. If this that was seen at the Oscars was the norm from Will Smith, no one would be cracking jokes on him because it'd be well known that he will put them paws on you, right? What y'all saying in the chat? Oh, really? Jack Nicholson, huh? Jack Nicholson warned Heath Ledger for playing that role. I can imagine what Jack felt after playing the Joker. He played it really well too. You know, it's very dark and twisted to get into that mindset of a psychopath. You know, very, very true. Very true. Shout out to the big homie Sirhel Speaks. You guys, if you have not checked my video out, me and Sirhel Speaks in Chicago Rilla, Black men, Black fathers, Black boys, please check that out. That is going to be a banger for Father's Day. So shout out to Sirhel Speaks. Great content creator, you guys. Go please check him out. Let's finish this. I'm going to bring my guest up.
Art imitates life. I look like the crazy father, just like they said. I look like crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams. But love will make you do crazy things.
Okay. Love will make you do crazy things. He's absolutely right. We have men and women in prison right now doing crazy things out of love. It's called crime of passion. Crime of passion, you guys. Love is one of the biggest components to violence and domestic violence that we see today. Just recently, we had a Navy man come home and saw his woman in the bed with another man. He took them out. He took them out. Love will make you do crazy things. He's giving you guys a warning. This is a warning. Is it truly love? Well, here's the thing. Love is nor good or bad, right? Love is no more than a tool. The person wielding it is what determines it, right? Love can be used for good. Love can be sick. Love can be healthy. Love itself is just a construct, right, of the emotion. The person wielding it is what makes it dangerous. The person wielding love is what makes it dangerous. Love is neither good nor bad. It's people, right, who misinterpret what love is. I could say, hey, I love you. I love you so much, and have you tied up in the basement. I can't have any. No one else can have you. That's love. It is love. Who's to argue that's not love? It's sick. But the feeling and infatuation a person has over that thing, over that person is real. Love is an emotion, you guys. That's what makes it dangerous. That's why love, absent of logic, is a problem. Is a problem. You need love and you need logic. Love is powerful, but without logic, it's dangerous. Love will have you on somebody's bushes at 3 o'clock in the morning. Love will have you stalking someone. Love will have you preventing people from leaving. Love will have you saving a person's life that you don't know. Love will have you risking your life for people who don't like you. Love will have you trying to create a YouTube channel to bring insight to a profession like law enforcement, even though some people don't want to hear it. That's love. It's love.
Being able to love and care for my mother and my family, my wife. I'm taking up too much time.
She's smiling. She's smiling. That's love.
Thank you for this honor. Thank you for this moment. And thank you on behalf of Richard and Oracene, the entire William.
I'm not even gonna go through that. He embarrassed all of those people. I'm gonna bring up my homeboy. You ready? Big homie about to bring him up. We're gonna have a discussion real quick, you guys, and I'm gonna let you guys ask away. We're gonna dive into this thing a lot deeper and get into some interesting discussion and dialogue in reference to the dynamics, the deeper conversation. Without further ado, you guys, he has an amazing channel on YouTube. You have to go and check him out. He's gonna introduce himself, introduce what he's doing. You guys, this is the next wave. This is what we're looking for. It's a lot, and we're gonna dive into it. Without further ado, we need to talk. That's the title of the channel. Big homie.
What's going on, boss?
What's going on, brother? What's going on?
Man, I was lost in everything that I'm seeing on social media, man. I'm seeing comedians starting to go in, people are making songs. It's a lot.
Memes, the jokes.
Listen, in less than 24 hours. It's ridiculous.
People's meme games be strong out here.
On point, man.
Listen, we need to talk. Let the people know who you are, your channel, and then I want the moderators to drop your link. We're gonna dive into this discussion. I want to get your point of view, man. And you know how me and you rock.
Let's do it. This might take 3 hours, but we're gonna get it done. Yeah, what's up, everybody? My name's Alan. My channel is We Need to Talk, and what we're trying to do there is we're trying to bridge the gap of understanding between Black men and Black women. Because ultimately the Black family is at the foundation of our progress. So we've been talking to each other incorrectly. We've been vilifying each other because we've been made to think we're the author of each other's destruction. And that's simply not true. So the work that I'm doing is to really demonstrate to people how to have healthy and productive conversations between men and women. And I consider myself an anthropologist. I want it to be a library of Black perspectives. I want it to be a library of Black thought and disagreement and agreement and everything. Because ultimately, if we can't talk to each other, there's no point of any of the economic work that we're doing and the whole nine. So y'all go check out my content. This Friday, I'm actually talking to a divester. I'm excited and terrified at the same time, but it's my first live, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yo, listen, the moderators are dropping your channel in the chat. Listen, you guys will not be disappointed. Grade A quality content over there. You know, and the conversations are meaningful, they're purposeful, and they're exactly what we need to have. Healthy discussions, real discussions, but raw, honest truth with respect. With respect.
Facts. Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, the goal is about correction, evolution, and solutions. And so, so I'm policing the police. Shout out to Courtney. So let's go ahead and dive right into it, brother. Listen, so
Let's do it.
So what are your thoughts? You heard my spill. We know this is. I look at there's two sides. Look at this. There is the real side and the conspiracy side. What angle you want to hit on first?
I'm a conspiracy buff myself, but I'm more so interested in your take on what this says about society at large. What this says about pop culture. What paradigm do you think this sets?
It sets that we can justify anything as long as we can tie an emotion to it. This starts to lead into the question about morality, right? You can win people over if you strike the right chords, right? There's no such thing as wrong if you can make a solid argument. And you know, people lean into deviant actions when they feel like it can be justified, right? If I can make people believe that I had a righteous disposition and why I did what I did, this too can be considered okay, right? And so in this situation here, it's like, hey, I've been through a lot. People making fun of me for a while. Hollywood just says I got to take it. You know, he made fun of my wife's alopecia, which, I mean, it's a medical thing.
Right.
But guess what? You know, I bet you there's someone in the stand right there inside that audience battling cancer. You know, someone has lupus. Someone has all types of other autoimmune diseases and things of that nature. I mean, was his behavior, was that okay? Was that acceptable? Why is in our community are we glorifying it and not, you know, really talking down about this and saying, discouraging people from, hey, this is not, here's the problem that I see, especially with some of our I see some women looking at this as an opportunity to influence men to come to their honor on things that, in other words, should have, you know, we should turn the other cheek or walk away from. You know, I could easily see people saying, Will Smith slapped somebody over something less. You know what I mean? Like Will Smith was able to, and then now you put men in a position to where our love starts to become questioned if we're not willing to assault or use forms of violence to make a situation feel better for you, right? And again, men move off of the emotions and actions of a woman. And so if you get the type of woman who will try to influence you to do something like that because your love for her is in question, then there's a good chance as a man you're going to do it, unfortunately. And we've seen historically, there are some women who put men in uncompromising positions and make them feel guilty if the solution wasn't solved through a form of violence.
I think, you know, the piece of this that I'm the most concerned about is our young boys, our young Black boys. I don't think we fully understand or we fully comprehend the fallout of single motherhood, the fallout of a lot of the images that we see in pop culture, the babies and the young thugs and these tropes, because ultimately boys are going to do what they need to do to garner female attention and female approval. And right now, the type of attention and the type of approval that's being celebrated is attention gotten from pseudo-masculine behavior. And part of, for me, the biggest part of masculinity is the ability to de-escalate a situation, right? So there's no universe for me where a joke results in assault. Like if it was a threat, if she had cancer, like a life-threatening illness, I would be more empathetic. I'd be like, emotions are high, this and that. But alopecia, I've had alopecia is literally just the loss of hair. Right. That's literally what it is, right? So again, I understand women's hair is a big deal, and it's their crown, and there's a lot of stuff tied to that. But to take it to that extent on public television, Chris Rock's daughters just saw their father be slapped in front of God in a room full of white people. And for it to be two black men, and for it to be during the Oscars that is produced by a black man, it's just a shame. And I think it sends the wrong message to our children, because honestly, that's what I care about. It's about the kids and like, what are they going to aspire to? Now, the super thug, I'm ready to pop off. I'm ready to slap anybody if they say something I don't like. That's going to be the new norm. And we're going to have to deal with that.
Let me ask you, you're right. And I didn't even look at it. I don't think a lot of people aren't talking about, a lot of people are talking about, no one's talking about Chris Rock. And I think you brought up a great point. How does he feel? How does he feel? And what about his family? How do they look at him now? And what's the reaction? Again, two black men, right? We have so much of this, and it's not a good look. Now, this is going to be stored away historically from here on out. He'll never be able to remove this stain off of his legacy. It's embarrassing. Now, let me ask you this. A lady asked earlier about love and the power of love. What is your thoughts? Can love? You're the best person to ask this question. You have a very interesting way you dive into things. Can love? You heard my disposition on love. Can love be good and bad? What's your take on that?
So ironically, we're dropping episode 40 tomorrow, and it's entitled "Kill Romance." Well, the thumbnail is "Kill Romance." The title is "Don't Sleep with Nobody's Husband," and you'll see why when you watch it. For me, as a man, I think of love primarily as a responsibility. I don't think about it as warm and fuzzies. I don't think about butterflies. I don't think about any of that stuff, because those things tend to not be sustainable. Right. And those things can quickly land you in a prison cell or in a casket, right? So for me, it's important and it's imperative when I'm talking to my little brother who's 17, when I'm talking to young men, I talk about prioritizing your mind over your heart. Because your heart can vacillate, it can change with the weather, but your mind has to be set, and it has to be principled, and it has to understand the world around you, and it has to be able to make decisive action that has foresight, right? So for me, when people are celebrating these Hollywood-esque and poetic ideals of love, what they're celebrating is romance. And I think it's important, especially as men, that we make that distinction. One of the people I mentioned during tomorrow's video, his name is Alain de Botton. He's a British philosopher. And he said something that I thought was really, really fascinating. He said, our idea of romance was invented by unemployed European artists. Romance was invented by unemployed European artists. So we think about things like long walks on the beach, watching the sunset. These are people who don't have jobs.
Right.
These are people who don't have responsibilities. They don't have children. They don't have homes to tend to. So they're able to live in this ethereal fantasy world. And unfortunately, what happens psychologically is when the world that you have, when your actual material world is messed up, or it's one that you don't want to interface with, we tend to escape into fantasy, right? So you have the boys that playing video games. They can be 6'5" on 2K and have a 40-inch vert, right? The girls, they're escaping the movies, rom-coms, romance novels. So when they project these ideals, right, on men, and men, we project certain ideals on women, it kind of like creates an incentive for the ways that we behave.
Right.
And now the celebrated idea is this successful gangster can go to work on Monday, but a slap fire to somebody on Friday, dude. And it's like, you're not thinking it all the way through. And that's what breaks my heart.
I think you're right, and I think it goes to show the influence, right? Men want to be what women desire,
Right.
and we understand that as men. You know, this brings me up to a good point right here. LaChrista Ellis, she says, it seems like a lot of black men try to blame black women for everything. He's solely responsible for his own actions. I disagree. And it's not about blaming, it's about acknowledging influence, right? And so, you guys, you have to remember that Will Smith, first of all, does anybody agree with this, right? We're talking about this incident specifically with Will Smith, Jada Pinket, Chris Rock. We're talking about the power of influence. And as a wife, she does hold some responsibility, right? And people are saying alopecia, that's not fun to make fun of. You know, you don't make fun of things like that. No, you're not. He's a comedian, you guys.
Right.
They do have a pass, right? They have a certain, society has given them a certain pass to be able to talk about people, whether no matter how inappropriate it might be. They are like the only ones that can do it, who really stretch the First Amendment to the 10th degree. Now, what are your thoughts on this comment right here in regards to this conversation, Alan? What do you think?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So one of the questions I often ask on my channel, because I approach everything from a Black history perspective, white supremacy paradigm, right? So I ask the question, I say, how did Black men help white supremacy destroy the Black family? And often, my guests rattle off a bunch of reasons and a bunch of, different things that Black men did or Black men could do better. Then I ask, how did Black women help white supremacy destroy the Black family? And there's often either no answer at all or, some dismissiveness. And when you really look at it, and I'm sure you can speak to this, Nathan, there is an undefined number of men who the sole reason that they did whatever they did to get into prison, whether it was, robbing somebody to gain money to look flashy and get women, whether it was trying to defend a woman's honor and their ego simultaneously and either beat a man up, assault a man, or kill a man, there is at its root, at its core, there is a woman involved, or whether it was their mother, right? So all I'm asking women to do is take into account how their actions, how their words, how the expectations that they're projecting on boys affects the behaviors that result in boys' death and incarceration. So that's all I'm saying. So in this situation, I think it's bigger than Chris. I think this is a result of a lot of things. I think he was slapping August simultaneously. I think he was slapping Jada simultaneously. Every comedian who's made fun of it. It was a lot of pent up, emasculated energy, right?
Yes.
And every time I hear a woman say, a real man would, insert thing, a real man would. I don't think we fully understand what that does to boys.
Yes. Yep. I think when women ask the question, I don't get offended because I think a lot of women don't understand men because men have never had a lot of we haven't had an especially in our community, there's a lack of understanding of how men think, how we
Right.
operate, how we feel, and how things make us feel. You'll hear sometimes women say, we want you to express yourselves. We want to know what you're really thinking." And sometimes some women have a hard time accepting what we're thinking,
Right.
or how we really look at the world. I think women downplay their level of influence they have over a man's behavior. And
Yeah.
again, it's not saying that Will is 100% wrong for what he did. At the end of the day, he has to make the choice.
Right.
But influence is exactly what influence is. It's when someone has power, a certain leverage over you, right? And so a lot of times it's hard for people to see that. But men do things to please the woman that they're with. That's in our
Absolutely.
nature. It's in our nature. And I think sometimes there are some women who don't quite understand that. But and it sounds like a stupid excuse, but a lot of people have lost their lives behind a man trying to please a woman. A lot of men have put themselves in prison behind trying to please a woman. Listen, men go out here, they'll commit crime in order to earn money so they can buy things that they really can't afford, right? We'll break our pockets to try to impress women. Like we do it. It sounds stupid, and not all men do it, but a lot of us do.
Absolutely.
This is the power and the influence of a woman. Now we're talking about somebody's wife, right? Somebody's wife. Um, what could have Jada did? One of my members, she dropped something. Now, granted, again, we can't blame Chris Rock. He's a comedian. He's
Yeah.
there to tell jokes, right? No fault to him. Some people are saying the joke went too far. He didn't say anything nasty. I barely caught the joke. First of all, when the joke went out, I didn't even know Jada Pinkett had alopecia.
Yeah.
And even when I found out, I was like, I said he slapped him over that. Like, nah, not at all. And then when I heard his response, then I knew something more to it. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So I I actually don't have anything to say about Jada, if I'm being completely honest. I look at this solely as you disrespected masculinity as a man because you acted purely out of emotion. And you set a very dangerous precedent for a lot of men who look up to you, right?
Yes,
Because you're Will Smith. You can get up on stage and slap somebody. But, I can't slap somebody on the street and think I'm going to go scot-free.
correct.
But if we continue to push this trope of I'm ready to pop off at and this is what pisses me off, Nathan.
This is true.
What pisses me off is in our community in particular, we have a very myopic view of what protection looks like. We don't consider de-escalation protection.
Right.
We don't consider, hey, you probably shouldn't do that protection. We don't consider, hey, you probably shouldn't go there protection. Or come on, let's go home, baby. We don't consider that protection. Protection is you should be willing to, because I'm rah-rahing at 5 men, you should be willing to step in front. There's so many men who've gotten their asses whooped
Yes.
because their girl started an argument with some men and now I have to be Superman.
Yes.
And that is what pisses me off about this situation. Now, if Will warned Chris Rock and said, hey, don't talk about my wife, maybe on commercial break, whatever the case may be, and he did it anyway, I would be a little bit more lenient. If Will went on stage, because I think why Chris wasn't defensive is he thought Will was coming on stage to like crack back at him. Oh, I said a joke, you gonna say a joke. Because, Will is a low-key comedian as well. So that's why he wasn't expecting any kind of, assault. That would have been acceptable,
Right.
verbal joust. But She looks like G.I. Jane to slapping her in the face. He didn't say anything about August Alsina. He didn't say anything about everybody calling her a whore. He literally made a joke about she looks like a character from a movie with a shaved head. Now, whether or not he knew she had alopecia, I think that's by the way. But for me, I am disappointed in men who react out of emotion, because that's not what masculinity is about. And that's never what it should be about.
You know, I agree, and I think a lot of people in the chat they're kind of I think they're misunderstanding the discussion. You guys, we only know what we know, right? We only know what we know. We know what he said. I want to bring this comment up right here, and I have something to show you guys. I think it's very interesting. Let's check this out. How do I want to do this? Gail showed me how to do this thing the other day. Let me get this right. All right. And then I think I can do this. All right. Toxic masculinity. I'm a domestic violence survivor. Will Smith's justification of Oscar's attack triggered memories of my abuse. Will Smith attempts to justify his Oscar attack as an act of love has triggered survivors of domestic abuse. Here we go. Smith smacked Chris Rock on the Oscar after comedian told a joke, blah, 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 blah. What are people saying? Kristen Evans, who survived an alleged domestic abuse attack by a former NFL running back, said Oscar's violence was another, right? Let's look at it. Let's dive into where this leads us now. Was another, she says, another of toxic masculinity where women are seen as property. This is the danger, you guys. I told you this before. Look past what you see. This is the setup. The altercation started when comedian made fun of Smith's wife. Now, which Chris Rock also stated that he had no idea she had alopecia. He didn't know. This is what Chris Rock is saying. But look how this is going to be used. Toxic masculinity, you guys. After physical confrontation, Smith was awarded Oscar, King Role, blah, blah, blah. This is what someone else said. Kristen Evans, here we go, who survived an alleged domestic violence attack by former NFL running back Zach Stacy. You guys, I covered that case. For those who are not familiar with that, you can take a look at my hold on, I think I lost you. You can take a look at my library. In reference to that case, he threw her into a TV. He beat her in front of the child, threw her on the TV, and it was all caught on the baby camera or something like that. Very disgusted, very disappointing, you guys. I did a video on this. She said, it put me back in my situation. She said, I can see Zach saying that exact statement. And I had a lot of people justifying Zach's reactions, but there was no justification for that violence. She was clear that Smith, her state's intentions were different, but the underlying issue is the same. She said, this is another example of toxic masculinity in our culture. Evans said, it perpetuates the same rhetoric that women are property and need to be protected. Let's, everybody listening, all the women here listening, this is how things are spun. This is how things are spun. And now it's about toxic masculinity. It started off as a joke. A man is defending the honor of his wife, has now turned into, now the wife acknowledged and wanted to be defended, right? She was grossly disgusted when the joke was made. She looked at her husband, in all of his infinite wisdom, thought it was a great idea to go up there and lay hands on Chris Rock, who did not deserve that. Will Smith is absolutely wrong. He was influenced by his woman. His woman did nothing to address it. She did nothing to calm him down. She let him go up there, right, and do what he did. And here we are. Now people are saying, now this is headline news now from The Sun, that this is a form of toxic masculinity. The idea that women need to be protected. Toxic,
we can't win for losing. That's crazy.
Win for losing. So So he's saying it was love. Sometimes you love so much. Sometimes you love so much. I see you, Linwood. I see you. Give me one moment, brother. Bring you up. Sometimes you love so much that this is the excuse, right? He loved her too much. He couldn't control himself. Couldn't control his emotion. She's saying that she was a part of domestic violence, and even the person who assaulted her said that he still loved her, and I guess he was abusing her out of love. What are your thoughts on this and how this thing is spun?
I think they're going to find a way to demonize the image of a black man, one way or the other. And that's why I said you can't win for losing. If you are protecting, it's because you feel a sense of ownership. If you're not protecting, it's because you're a coward. It's like I said before, I'm concerned about our young boys.
Right.
I'm concerned about what message are we giving to our young boys? What paradigms are we setting? What do we want them to do? Because if they begin to act like women, which is the current narrative, like you should be more like us, the consequences are going to be destructive. Because when you add testosterone to pseudo-emotionalism, that's how people end up in jail. Matter of fact, I was watching a video today. The girl was talking about Erica Lachey. Shout out to her.
Okay.
She was talking about how her brother is in prison, and one of his friends who's in prison with him is in prison for beating up his sister's abusive boyfriend. And he's still in prison, and the sister is back with the abusive boyfriend. And you have tons of stories where men throw their lives away in hashtag defend black women because defense only looks like, I'm a knuckle up, I'm a shoot, I'm a fight, I'm gonna do this, and that. And they throw their lives away. And eventually, you know what I mean? The woman moves on with her life and he has to suffer the consequences. So I think the reason it's so vital we have men in our community is because men bring a foresight. Men bring a pragmatic approach to you need to consider the consequences of your actions. You need to see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead. My mom told me a story. So I'm Nigerian. So my mom told me a story about 2 men getting off a bus, and they were in a fist fight, and one man hit the other man and killed him. Mm-hmm. Right? And we don't consider that. How many times have we seen football players collapse on the field, soccer players collapse on the field? Because some people actually walk around with bubbles in their brain they don't know about. And the wrong type of trauma from the wrong angle, that's their life. Right? So you looking tough and being macho, it can result either in your death, your incarceration, or the conscious. It being on your conscious that you just killed somebody.
Yes.
And we don't have these conversations. And this is why people who actually participate in martial arts, people who actually box, actually do MMA are the last people to fight because they understand the consequences. And they understand that masculinity is about your ability to de-escalate.
Yes. In martial arts, we have a saying that when I've taught kids, your strongest form of self-defense is not fighting at all. That I've always taught kids that because the idea is that use your mind, right? Use other tools. Violence should always be the last resort. And when we talk about the power of conflict resolution, Will Smith could have easily went on stage, said something in his ear, and walked right back down and sat down, and then allowed Chris Rock to issue an apology right then and there on national television. Hey, brother, listen, that joke was sensitive. Yeah. My wife is suffering from alopecia. Please, that really hit her hard. You know what I mean? Then took his ass back off the stage and sat down. That would have been more powerful. That would have been so much more powerful. But Will Smith said that this is a multitude of issues he's dealing with. There's so much he's been putting up with over the last year or so in regards to his life, his personal life, his relationship. With Jada. So we know this was the straw, right? And Chris Rock was the one who broke it. Now, one would argue, I've heard some people say, would this have happened? Could this have happened if this was a white man up there or a woman?
Hell no.
What would he have done if it was a
Hell
woman?
no.
You know, so real quick before I dive into that, let me shout out to Anthony J. He said, "No love is good, but a compassionate person with no self-control have a mother bear type of personality. Do not transgress on their kin, or you'll get mauled." We're overly compassionate nowadays. That's very true. This was in regards to that statement I made about just in general about what love is and love good or bad. And then Imani Malik Butler, thank you for this as well. He said, "Why no accountability for Will legally and the Oscars? Why no accountability?" Appreciate you guys for the super chat. In regards to the accountability, yeah, he could be held accountable. The Oscars will have some type of sanctions against Will. I'm absolutely sure. I'm sure he violated something. Maybe if they have some type of contractual thing, he may have violated. But as far as criminal, it's going to be up to Chris Rock to press any type of charges against Will Smith. I highly doubt it. I think this is a good opportunity for the brothers to come together and show a place of force. So, but we will see. Linwood, real quick, what you got for us? Welcome to the channel. What you got for my guests or for myself? What are your thoughts on this?
Brother. This has been a conversation all day. But, black women saying, "Oh, he's defending his honor."
Right.
"Oh, he's defending his wife." Some brothers are saying the same thing. Some brothers are saying opposite. But I'm gonna come to the center.
All right.
Because as black men, we have had to deal with domestic violence in our upbringing. We've had to watch black women get slapped around by black men. Some of them are fathers. Some of them are uncles. Some of them, sisters' boyfriends. We had to watch that shit. So it's kind of hard for me now because I'm twisted. I'm all twisted because one moment I'm taught, don't hit a woman.
Right.
When you get in conflict, women walk away. Now I'm hearing, oh, bitches like to be beat. Bitches like to be beat. Wait a minute. It's twisted now because hearing that white female come out and say what the brother did to her, which I saw the tape, and he mauled her ass. But it does come down to when those words y'all use, like honoring his queen and honoring his woman, that's the same trigger words of men viewing women as property. You're my bitch. You're my slave. You gonna do what I say do. And, as a brother that's actually seen domestic violence, personally, as well as seeing it from some kin people, I got some, classmates of mine who are in the female right now, in the grave site right now, in the grave. They ain't never coming back. The boyfriends, they in court laughing at the family, grieving. So, I know Will going through a lot. I know Jada is Jada, man. I said some things about Jada, like if they're in that open relationship, they should have never got in it. They should have never started it. They should have been just husband and wife and been monogamous with each other. If he can't take that heat that she's doing, another man's doing things to her, he should have never started in the first place. And it's gonna be a hard pill, brothers, because now, as black people, our conversation is immature.
Yes.
Now it's really about, and we gotta really get on it. We gotta get deep in it. It's us defending ourselves against the non-black society. And if non-black society is attacking our champions, even when our champions are dead wrong by what they did, we have to defend them because they are black and they're in a system of anti-blackness. And so they attacking Will. We gonna support Will. You gonna support Will from slapping another brother, but y'all didn't say a motherfucking thing. Excuse my language, but I'm going in right now. Y'all didn't say a motherfucking thing when them crackers in D.C. in the Republican Party was coming at our dear system for the Supreme Court. Ain't nobody slapped nobody then. Senator Hawley didn't get slapped. Senator John Kennedy didn't get slapped. Senator Ted Cruz didn't get slapped. And that old racist ass white bitch down in Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn, she didn't get slapped.
Well, I think the
Come on.
problem, I think the problem is one of the biggest things that we always have to address, to be honest. And moderators, if you could drop the link for those who want to come up and have the discussion. And also, you guys, if you're in here, please hit the like button. If you're enjoying this this conversation, listen, I want to take it back to the root of the problem here. About what are your thoughts on toxic masculinity? This
Well,
being a display.
I've been hearing that crap too. That's the non-black talking point. Toxic masculinity from non-black feminists. For real black men haven't been able to really express their manhood in a constructive way because we got influences, and a lot of it is our own fault because we are too busy competing and comparing with one another. Instead of supporting each other, we tearing each other down. Instead of like saying, "Hey, brother, what's going on?" Instead of sitting back, like actually talking about our differences, we want to go squabble up.
Right.
So that's how we've been taught about masculinity. And so these young boys, they grow up. All three of us are generations of people. Whatever years you were born, I was born in the 80s, early 80s. So I grew up with toxic masculinity through hip hop. With bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on my nuts and suck my dick. That's all you dealt with. NWA, reach back like a pimp, slap the hoe.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this real quick. What do you think Jada Pinkett should have done something? Was there something that she could have done?
Yes, there's something she could have done. Get up and leave. Hey, meet me. You a little warm right now? We going outside.
You think she should have stopped him before he went up on stage?
Yeah, take him aside and say, "Come on, before we get in front of these non-black folks and start airing out our dirty laundry, take that shit outside."
I hesitate with that because that could have been emasculating.
And with the heads of the
true,
leaders
too.
like Tyler Perry,
That's
they
true, too.
see it was about to get heated. The Tyler Perrys, the Denzels of the world, come on, we're gonna air this out now. When Chris get off that stage, we're gonna pull him to the side. We're gonna put him to the round table because we're not gonna do this shit here.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge, man. But yeah, I appreciate it, Linwood, for coming up. I'm gonna bring in some other folks in the back. Appreciate your input, brother.
Anytime, man.
All right. Yeah, I think one of the things a lot of people are saying, you're right, Alan, that the first problem is how do you handle that? Ladies in the chat, how do you handle a situation like that? I'm really curious if any women want to come up. I see there's a couple brothers in the back, but I want to hear from a lady. You don't have to cam up, but I would love to hear your input on this topic. Did Jada have any control? Could she have done something? Right? Could she have done something? Listen, if I'm in a marriage, I'm in a relationship with a woman and I'm getting ready to lose it, my woman is the last line of defense for whoever I'm about to blow up on. Period. And as a woman, what is your responsibility to your husband in a situation like that? Mind you, if Will does something reckless, he's the head of the house. If he falls, the house falls, you guys. I don't know what movie Jada's been in the last 10 years that's significantly bringing in money, but their livelihood is built on the income of Will Smith. Let's be honest. She allows him to fall, then everything else topples with it. It's not that she can't hold her own. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that she's not valuable. I'm not saying that either. I'm saying that her responsibility to her husband is also just as important to his responsibility to the family. And if he does something reckless, it hurts everybody under that umbrella. Any ladies want to come up? Alan, what's your thoughts on that? What responsibility did Jada have to Will in that moment?
I think when men talk about women being their piece, I think what we're also saying is a woman should have the ability to bring us calm in a storm. Going back to your sword and sheath metaphor, biologically it makes sense, but mentally it makes sense as well. Like a woman should be able to protect a man in that way,
Right.
from blowing up his life and potentially her life
Right.
based on an ego trip. Right? There should be a sense of, it's okay, baby. Everything will be fine. Especially like I said, if you know who your man is, if you know he's a hothead, if you know that he's prone to do something because he's trying to prove himself, because that's what it seemed like. And that's what happens a lot with, nice guys. I've seen a lot of people say beta rage, but sometimes nice guys are actually the most dangerous because they feel like they have something to prove.
Yes.
Right. They feel like if I don't do this, I'm not going to get none tonight. And you've seen pictures of Jada where she's like, she seems pleased. She seems like you did good, boy, you know, and that's what's dangerous.
Yep.
That's what's dangerous.
Yep. And I think there's two ways to look at it. You can argue that she knew the risk and she was down for it, right? I've worked cases where you had a child who was sexually assaulted and the mom and the father were like, yeah, father, handle that. And the father's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to maybe do about 5 years for this.
Right.
And it's an agreed upon decision, right? So maybe Jada knew the risk and she wanted some retribution. Maybe she knew the risk. Shout out to Gail at Night. She says, our responsibility as a wife is to be his peace in voice of reason.
Voice of reason. There we go.
Voice of reason.
There we go.
I agree 100%. A woman can calm you down or hype you up. Hype you up. And, I just don't see any justification for what Will did. I see none at all. I can't even, I thought about it before we started the stream. I can't even argue on his behalf.
I would have rather this been a backstage World Star video.
Yes.
Like, I would have been cool with that. I'd be like, you know what? Or TK Kirkland 5 years from now saying, I was back then, everybody else don't know, but this is what happened backstage. Like, just a rumor, right? I would have rather, but to get on stage live and slap a man in front of God, his daughters,
yeah, man,
every woman he's ever been. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was tough.
My God. Punch me. Right. Punch me. Do not slap me. Punch me. Please knock me out. Don't, man.
It's disrespectful, man. It's disrespectful.
Next level.
Said, if my husband goes to jail, I lose my partner, my kids lose their father. It's not worth it. That's the part that I was thinking. That's the part that I was thinking. Yeah. The ladies are, there's some ladies in the chat that are very passionate about this topic. You guys, listen, you're more than welcome to have the discussion. I want you to come up and ask the questions. This is not her fault. They say, you guys, they're a team. They are a team. What he does, he did it for her. He said, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. He did it for her, you guys. Her reaction says it all. Her response to the joke says it all. She could have easily have calmed him down. Yep. Let's say that's why we need ourselves. Overall, I think it's a very interesting thing. What do you see that's going to come from this? Obviously, we already see people talking about toxic masculinity. It's only been a day. Is there a way that we can turn this around for something positive?
I think, again, I got to go back to the kids, man. I think Will needs to come out and unequivocally say that was unacceptable. Do not be like me. Do not allow your emotion to overtake you. Because, he's Will Smith. He might lose some money, some coins,
Right.
But for somebody else, some regular guy, some regular Joe, some regular kid, like, are boys going to start getting up and smacking their teachers or the resource officer at their school? Or are comedians now going to have boxing gloves on whenever they're on stage? You know, like what precedent does this set? And that was my, you know, biggest critique of, you know,
Hold on, your mic went out.
can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, it just changed the paradigm of what's acceptable. Like, we have to maintain some level of decorum. We have to maintain some level of this is acceptable and this is not acceptable. So for me, I hope the community rallies and says, that is unacceptable. That is not how you do it. Young men, do not do that. Do not do it on a small scale. Do not do it on a large scale. Will is not your role model. Kanye is not your role model. These men live in fantasy worlds. But real men do not move like that. Real men think about consequences. Real men de-escalate. You don't take something from a joke to assault. So for me, that's the silver lining, and I hope that's what happens.
Yeah, and it's not a good look for Will. I think if anything, it shows a level of weakness. It shows a level of insecurity.
Absolutely.
It does not make him look like a man at all. If anything, I would argue there's nothing toxic masculine about this situation whatsoever. It makes him look very, very weak. This could have been something that could have been addressed when he got up on the stand,
Yeah.
accepting the award. He could have went up there and said, "Hey, listen, you know, I want to give a special shout out to my wife. You know, I know we're up here telling jokes or whatever about, you know, G.I. Jane, but, you know, my wife is suffering from alopecia, as some might know. So that joke was a little offensive, you know, but for, you know, whatever, you know, there was a way he could have done it. But again, you know, I know how emotions are. When it's on you, it's on you. It's easy to say what we would have done in the moment. When you're under that type of pressure and scrutiny, we don't know what's been going on behind closed doors for how long, you know. And so, you know, at the end of the day, we are just speculating. But yeah, it was a joke. But Will Smith really talked about how there was so much more going on. He's on this tipping
Right.
point, a tipping point in life, you know, literally. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I've been beat up. People just think we're just supposed to. So is this going to be the norm now, right? That you can't tell jokes about people because you don't know where people are and their emotional state of mind. He picked the wrong day to tell the joke. Maybe a couple months from now, it wouldn't have hit as hard, right? We just don't know. But people have been told worse jokes
Right.
about themselves. Let's just be honest. He didn't say anything about her being bald. He just said G.I. Jane. Again, I didn't even get the joke, you know, in the moment. So I don't know. That's why I said there's a conspiracy side to it. Let's talk about the conspiracy side real quick. What are your thoughts? Because, you know, we could talk about the personal aspects
Yeah.
of it all day, but if we look at the conspiracy, what could this really be, right?
Well, shit, we're at war right now, or on the brink of war.
Yes.
Just like you mentioned before, the TV ratings are down all over. I at first, like, pretty much like everybody, I thought it was a hoax. I thought it was staged. I thought they were gonna Ashton Kutcher was gonna hop out, you know. But when I watched the playback, because when he was sitting down, he laughed at the joke.
Yes.
Then he looked at Jada, and then we didn't see him. He just
Right.
started walking on stage.
Right.
And what was interesting to me is, as soon as he smacked, because I saw like a slow motion version of it. As soon as he smacked him and turned around, he smirked a little bit. Like, yeah, I did it. And then he went back to stoic and then walked off stage. So, like, I think he felt like he had something to prove. I think that was an emasculated man trying to salvage any sense of his nutsack that he could in that moment. And I think somebody else mentioned he wouldn't have done it with some other people. If that was, I don't know, Steve Harvey, it wouldn't have gone that way. If that was TK Kirkland, it wouldn't have gone, well, he wouldn't be hosting the Oscars, but if that was a host of other people, it wouldn't have gone that way. But the joke was light. I don't know how we got it. There is a bunch of stuff he could have said that I would be like, okay, the slap makes sense.
Correct.
He didn't say the ball headed this, and that.
Right.
Next GI, man. The war on comedy is crazy.
The war on comedy is a thing. Slap does hit different. Um,
Oh
good one. That's
man.
a good one. How would you have handled this? Kiwan says, "How would you have handled this if this was your wife?"
Me. Well,
And she was upset.
if
Right?
okay, so I'm a Hollywood celebrity.
There you go.
My wife is also a Hollywood celebrity, and we know that being made fun of is a part of the job. I think that's different. Now, if it's let me bring it down. We're just, two regular people, semi-regular people, and a comedian makes a joke about my wife and she doesn't take it well. I might have words with that comedian, after the show, during the intermission, backstage, whatever. But I would not embarrass myself and embarrass my wife, because that's how I look at it. Embarrass our children, embarrass our legacy by taking a schoolyard approach. Because he didn't prove anything.
Right.
He genuinely proved nothing. Because the other man did not retaliate. The other man was not in a defensive position. The other man posed no threat to either him or his wife. That is not protection. Protection is when you are protecting against an imminent danger. There was no danger there. Now, we can pontificate about, feelings being hurt and the whole nine, but she came out looking the way she wanted to look. He's a comedian. He was doing his job. It is what it is. So in context, like, we can't be just throwing in different, somebody's feelings might be hurt. It's alopecia, this and that. You knew what you signed up for. And to be honest, that's a mild joke. Like, I grew up with Bernie Mac. I grew up with the old Steve Harvey. Like, come on now. Come on.
Right. Yeah, I know. I agree with that. War show has never had reason to have security until now, and it's our image that's made
That even a question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is sad.
That's what pisses me off. It had to be black people. It had to be black. Damn. I want to see Brad Pitt slap freaking Bradley Cooper. That's what I want to see. We need equity.
We need equity.
We need equity.
Yeah, I think again, the image, I'm more so concerned about black image and how that reflects, just like that gentleman said, is now the big problem now we have to look at is now they're going to use this excuse. Well, last time someone got on stage and slapped one of the, where's security at? What should have happened differently? Now the question is going to be, hey, we have to start being mindful of these jokes that we make on people, because now it's not just about what happens on stage, it's what happens at home when somebody decides they want to self-delete themselves, right? Because the joke offended them. So I see society going to start bringing this up and using this as a landmark to decide whether or not comedy should be adjusted, right? The language used, who they go after, the jokes that are being made. I see society using this as an opportunity to remove a lot of leeway that comics have when discussing certain things.
Yeah. I think that means it's the death of comedy.
Yeah.
I think because I'm waiting on Dave Chappelle to say something. I'm waiting on, even Steve Harvey. I want to see what, the OG. I know DL Hughley reposted something earlier, but I want to see what the OGs of comedy, because this is Chris Rock. This isn't a small comedian. This isn't Pete Davidson. This is Chris Rock. So I want to know what the seasoned OG comedians think about what this means, right? Because I think we're on a very, very, very slippery slope, and I don't think the other side of this slope, where we now have PG, super policed, whitewashed comedy, especially because it's going to disproportionately affect black comedians.
Yes,
like that. That's what we're not talking about. It's black comedians that are going to suffer. So, I don't know.
Yeesh. What are your thoughts, man? What are your overall thoughts and just in general when it comes to um, when we look at sometimes I think we tend to forget that these celebrities are regular people too.
Right.
They're regular people that go through a lot.
Right.
Is this something that moving forward people need to be mindful of? We see people like Kanye West, he does the same thing. He's like, listen, I'm tired of you guys following me around taking pictures. I want to be a normal person sometimes. Do you believe that as an entertainer, this is what you sign up for? Will Smith's last statements were people think we're just supposed to get, we're just supposed to take these assaults and insults and just be okay with it. This is what the job is. Is this a situation where people say that's the job? When I tell people about my law enforcement career and how I've gotten mistreated and called names, people say, well, that's what you signed up for, right? There's like a lack
Of
of
empathy.
empathy people have for you as an individual going through it. Are we saying as that entertainers have to suck it up? This is the part of the business that you have to deal with. What are your thoughts on that as it relates just to the relationship and social dynamics?
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think entertainers are people, and I don't think, you're entitled to get a picture from them or an autograph from them, or you're entitled to, interrupt their lunch or their dinner. However, in a public arena like an award show, like a roast, like a controlled environment where these are the expectations. This is the show. This is the script.
Right.
I think there was a tweet that came out recently that Chris Rock didn't even write that joke. Somebody else wrote it, because that's the other thing. It's show business.
That's very
So
true.
just because we hear a song from this person doesn't mean they're the author of it. Just because we hear a joke from a comedian doesn't mean they're the author of it, right? So with that understanding, you can't go in there thinking it's personal. You can't go in there. Now, I understand certain things can cross certain lines, but you still have to have a sense of like, yo, is this worth it? Is this particular one worth it? And that's why I'm saying, like, this was bigger than Chris Rock. This was bigger than alopecia. This was bigger than, defending his wife's honor. This was defending his ego. This was trying to salvage his masculinity. And he was presented an opportunity to Kanye West his way back into Jada's good graces. And, God bless him, he took it.
Yeah, he did. I, I want to show. I want to show this. This is an apology. Before I pull that up, though, shout out to Anthony J. He said first it was colleges. That is very true when we talk about censorship. Then it's comedians on their own stage. Yes, that is very true. Dave Chappelle talks about it. A lot of other comedians talk about it. Now we can't even tell jokes freely at the Oscars. Not even after Ricky Gervais' notorious rant. I have to look that up. Are you familiar with that? I'm gonna look
No.
that up.
Ricky Gervais and Taurus Rant.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. What he's saying is true, you guys. We have to always look deeper behind these things. That there is one, there's a penalty for success. Two, a lot of these Hollywood stars are used for propaganda. They're used to push out
Facts.
a narrative. So we really don't know. This could all be orchestrated and an act as a form of distraction. We talked about that earlier. Um, I want to touch on this. Will Smith made this post about an hour ago, and this is in reference to his apology. Let me see. Hold on. Someone said people used to never anyone with relatives that have a head full of hair. Oh, okay. Shout out to Sandra. She said people keep talking about alopecia. I've never seen anyone with alopecia that had a head full of hair that is being shaved regularly. Alopecia leaves the head shiny with no hair buds. That's true. That's what I thought. Looked like Jada had a little fade, but I digress. Um, so let's look at this apology. Will Smith says violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior last night at the last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job. We just talked about that.
Yeah.
But a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally, which we all agree on. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There's no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. Well, love and world and kindness. Yeah, you missed me with that one. Let me see.
I need a speech. I don't need his publicist typing up
We all
typing
know.
up something. I need a speech.
Well, he's a good actor, so at the
Yeah.
end of the day,
I need you to cry again, Will. I need you to cry and say I'm sorry, Chris. That's what I need to see.
let me see. Shout out to Pal from Pound. He said the alopecia is on the top of her head. She showed it right when she shaved it. Okay. Yeah, because I think alopecia also speaks to like a balding or bald spots, the loss of hair. So she may actually have shiny bald spots. Okay, very true, very true. I'm gonna have to I have to look up. I don't know much about alopecia. Um, I'll have to really look it up to kind of get a better understanding of what it does. Um, Here's the second part. I would also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family, my King Richard family. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained that has been an otherwise gorgeous journey for all of us. I'm a work in progress. Yeah, absolutely. We are all a work in progress. No one would ever take that away from anyone. We're not perfect. None of us are perfect. And what do you think about his apology? That we know his publicist may have wrote this, and he may not have. But what are your thoughts on the apology?
Nah, he was proud of what he did. I saw some footage. I saw some footage of the after party, and he was celebrating. He felt like a gorilla beating his chest. He was proud. He was proud of what he did. He was proud of being able to stretch out. Proverbially stretch out, and I don't think he's sorry. I think he's sorry for what it might mean for his career. He's sorry for looking bad in front of the Academy.
Right.
I don't think he's sorry to Chris Rock. But ultimately, again, there might be a lot more to the story that we don't know behind the scenes.
Right.
I think it's important we acknowledge that, but he's not sorry.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you guys, I think here's the reality of it. We're just gonna keep it all the way 100. I don't know anybody who was actually watching the Oscars.
Yeah, I wasn't watching.
I got
I saw it on Instagram.
a friend of mine last night sent me a link, sent me a screenshot about the slap. And then I went online trying to look and nothing was reported yet. And then I saw someone start posting things little by little. I didn't even know the Oscars were yesterday.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
Right? That's how down bad the Oscars are. They needed a Hail Mary and they called on Will Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will Smith, I mean, he's probably going to spin this. His career is going to be just fine. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Shout out to Anthony J. Gang. Said Ricky Gervais roasted a number of audience members for their, at the time, insane virtue signaling in the most brutal way, basically disrespected them. I think I've seen that. Appreciate the super chat again. I'm about to look that up. I'm gonna look that up because I think I remember that. He did go in on everybody and they made a big deal about it. He was snapping on everybody. Chris turned the Oscars into Def and Comedy. She said Chris turned the Oscars into Def Comedy Jam and Will turned it into a Source of War.
Source of Wars, yeah.
Source of Wars has always been hood. That is
yeah, man.
I don't know, bro. That's my take on it, man. Any final thoughts?
I just think we need more men in our community who stand on principle, who prioritize foresight, who can teach these boys how to see all the angles and dimensions of their actions and situations. But this is unacceptable. We cannot make this the standard. We cannot make punching, slapping people in public as black men the standard. That's not the way to do it. It'll result in you either being incarcerated or killed or potentially killing somebody.
Right.
And that's not what we need.
Agreed. Moral of the story, keep your hands to yourself.
Keep your hands to and women, please stop celebrating this pseudo-masculine trope.
Thank you.
Please stop celebrating men being willing to pop off. You got to be able to fight 5 men for me. You got to be ready to ride and pull up with the stick. Stop celebrating these things. If you claim you love black men, you have to love their freedom. You have to love their conscience. You have to love their peace of mind. And these movies that we're watching, these rom-coms, action, romances, it's not real. Please. People's lives are on stake, especially black men.
Yes.
Like somebody said earlier today, the prisons are filled with black men, #protecting black women. And those black women move on.
Ooh.
Like it's not right.
38% of our prison population today is filled with African American men. 38%. You know, a lot of crimes that I've seen that men are doing, a lot of times there's a good portion of it, there's always a woman associated with it, a reason behind it. You know, whether you're trying to stunt for her, trying to defend her, or you were disrespected while she was present. You know, as a man,
that's a big one.
Be disrespected in front of my lady. You know, and you know, when I talk to these guys, you know, when I run up on them, they're like, you know, I had to do what I had to do. Right? I couldn't allow. Listen, I've been in domestics. I've been in homes where I've had everything under control under a domestic. You know, a man against a woman, they're going at it. I've calmed everybody down, and then here comes another police officer walk in and actually turn the situation upside down because their attitude or the officer was unprofessional or the officer was disrespecting the man of the house. And I've seen a man say, listen, I'll go to jail right now for putting my hands on you out of principle. Out of principle. And they'll tell you, yeah, I might be wrong, but don't ever come in another man's house disrespecting another man. You know, so there are some men who will catch they'll catch a charge with a smile just for the simple fact of defending their pride and their honor. You know, so it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a man thing. You know, there's some people who wouldn't understand it. Some women don't understand it.
Testosterone is a it's a motherfucker.
Being a man comes with its unique characteristic traits, you know. And there are some men who will put pride over freedom.
That's a fact.
Any day. So, Alan, I appreciate you, brother, coming through.
Thank you, sir.
Joining me for this discussion. You guys, if you're not familiar, you will get to know him because he has an amazing channel. He has an amazing platform. He's doing great things. I urge you to go over there and check him out. We need to talk. If the moderators could drop his link again, please, you guys, check out his content. Very, very, as you see, educated, powerful brother. He has a lot of gems that he drops. Great interviews. He's interviewing women from our community. He has some fellows over there he's interviewed. And me and him also done
dropping soon. That's coming soon. Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
It's shot. It just needs to be edited. Y'all will see that soon.
So great person. It's rare I get a chance to come across people who have a heart as similar to mine, just a love for what we're doing, a love for the craft, a love for our people.
Absolutely.
Really want to see our people on top. Really want to empower us to do better, to do great things, the things that we know we're capable of doing. And so I thought this was a great conversation that we had, and for him to jump on and just kind of introduce himself. So
hey, shout out to you, man. The work you're doing is phenomenal. I think even being able to see a black police officer, I think is powerful. I think we need your perspective. I think we need your insight. I think we need your heart. You know, the fact that you prioritize black people, the fact that you can give us the perspective of a law enforcement officer. So now we can think from multiple directions,
Right.
dimensions, like I was saying earlier. I think that's powerful. And, you know, I'm excited to see you grow and see you thrive and see you succeed, man. For real.
I appreciate that, brother. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate that. Yes, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yes, again, Alan, thank you so much, man. And
Most def, man.
you know, we'll continue. You know, anytime you see me come on, man, and feel free to jump on.
Yeah, I'm going to be on here.
That's what's up, brother. All
All right,
right.
man. Take it easy.
All right. All right. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Yep. What do I tell them? I said, listen, join, sign up. We need people with good hearts, people who have the right mentality, the right integrity. Train up the people that we want to see representing us in positions of leadership, you guys. Listen, this was a great discussion. You guys, normally I stay away from the celebrity stuff. But you know, this is a couple things pointed out. A couple things in this situation really reached out to me, and I said, you know, I have to give my perspective because sometimes I see things differently. I think as an investigator, I like to go into a root of a situation and listen. I know sometimes we speculate because we don't know everything. Obviously, um, you know, these are celebrities. We don't know much about their lives. We know what we are shown. But the problem is with celebrities is that their life becomes an influence to other people. We take what we see in our community or within this nation and even around the world, and people use that and they try to mimic it, right? Best believe what was shown yesterday has had a powerful influence. We have not seen the ramifications of his actions, but we will see it. Already there's articles talking about toxic masculinity, about men not able to control their violent urges, right? Unable to control their emotions, not using other forms of tools to actually de-escalate or forms of conflict resolution. So, you know, there's a lot of things that can be done out of this situation. People can use this as an opportunity to attack comedians and say that their power has gotten away from them. Society no longer wants to give them such leadway and leverage when discussing topics, right? That's a problem. We don't want our comedians censored. We talk about how powerful a comedian is. And if you take away that voice that they have, that's also a voice taken from the people. We have to understand that. We also have to look at the other picture. You guys, we're on the brink of World War III. This is the reality. These things can be done. Snuggles always talking about drop the link, but don't ever come up. You know, we're on the brink of World War III. For those who don't know, you have to be aware of what's actually going on. A lot of times, Hollywood and media and things like that can be used as a way to sedate the people. They use Hollywood and actors as a way to distract you from things that are actively going on, right? It's a way to keep us pacified, right? The economy is falling apart. We have a country at war, but yet people can't see any of the real violence. There's side operations going on all around us to make us feel there's things going on and get us in our emotions. Right? So we don't know what our government is going to do in regards to the war. People are sad. People are still having effects from COVID. People are still battling the economy. The inflation is through the roof. People struggling with the gas prices. And then now here we go with the food, right? Then the shot. They want the shot to travel, the shot to have the job. You know, we as a people have all the power. And sometimes I feel like we forget that. We forget it. There's nothing more dangerous than a person who has power but never realizes that the power is worth a thing, right? We have all the power, but don't recognize how much power we truly have. And we give all our power away to those who give us such a hard time. Let's leave it like that, right? They give us a hard time. You guys, we are the manufacturers of our suffering. We are the manufacturers of our suffering. So at the end of the day, I think we just need to wake up, be mindful of what's going on. It's the usual suspects all the time. And they do this with everything, right? They use the police as a tool, politics. They use comedians. They use actors. They use movies to put influence and propaganda. I mean, so this is not a uncommon thing. People don't realize, right? You got Amazon. He just bought MGM. Was it movies? Yeah, he just bought MGM. So Amazon, Bezos, he owns MGM now. He owns all of that. He owns, I believe, the Washington Post now. He owns some grocery store. Listen, people are making power moves while we're over here talking about Will and Jada. There's so much more going on behind our eyes, and we're walking around with our eyes wide shut. Welcome to America, right? Welcome to America. What's the real game being played behind the scenes? And let me tell you, within 3 hours, this Oscar stuff had over 1 million views. You guys, I didn't even know the Oscars were going on. I didn't know the Oscars were going on until now. Guess how popular the Oscars are going to be next year? People, and even though no one's going to expect anybody to be assaulted, shout out. Thank you. And shout out to TLA. That's the big homie. Welcome. Take off the blindfolds. Absolutely. Thank you. Shout out to all my members, my new members who have joined the channel, you guys. Your support means everything to me. It's very inspiring and it's motivating. A different voice in this area, you guys. We'll talk about the gossip stuff, but we're going to always dive deeper. Always dive deeper. Shout out to Brenda. At the end of the day, you guys, this is, we are the people. We have all the power. Somehow we live in a country where they've told us that we're supposed to hate each other. Greetings, Vaughn. Greetings, everybody. I like to give my closing arguments. Oh, look at this. Trump is currently suing Hillary. Listen, you guys. Listen, I know people feel some kind of way about the election last year, but I have proof and evidence, and I've seen some things, and I know people who have seen some illegal activity in regards to that election, you guys, here in Georgia. Something's not right. Whether you like a person or not, something's not right. No matter how you feel about Trump, you care less, right, of who you voted for, it doesn't matter. But there were some things that were going on here in Atlanta that should not have happened when it came to that election. And this is from people who have working knowledge, people who are filing police reports and saying that, they tried to vote, someone already voted for them. Cuckoo Cachoo. So Zamar said stuff Benny hasn't been right for a long time. This is true. I'm just saying that, you guys, we are the people. At the end of the day, we have to stop allowing ourselves to be manipulated. He said I missed a couple super chats. I'll be rolling. What did I miss? I got to go through all that. Listen, I apologize if I missed any super chats, you guys. These things come through so quick sometimes, and I'm always trying to stay dead people voting. Yes, there were a lot of dead people voting. I don't know how that happened. The case against, listen, the case against Trump's collusion has been dropped. Yep. But that's not advertised. I don't want to turn this to a Trump hype channel, but right is right, is wrong is wrong. I mean, politicians wrong on both sides. So I look at them all as criminals. But, when you make up something on someone, you need to be able to have the proof. Listen, 2020, I haven't wanted to even think about the next year. First sign things was going downhill was Kobe dying. Oh, I know. And then you look at what was going on surrounding Kobe, it just makes you bat an eye like, hold up. What's this stuff going on in the courts and lawsuits? Now World War III, it's very possible, ushering in this new thing. Anthony J, thank you so much again. I think I may have missed some super chats, you guys. For everybody who has donated, thank you so much. It means so much. I can't express it enough. So much, you guys. Listen, I can rant. I can rant, and we can end up turning this thing into a whole nother thing. I try not to do that because I try to make these videos short enough for people can watch it. Sometimes I used to drop some 6-hour joints. I try to stop doing that. So we're gonna cut it almost at 3. She said, I can't believe you haven't posted about Jesse getting out of jail, because his ass is getting right back in there. He's going right back to jail. He just got out. It's temporary. He's going right back. You guys, a lot of times when I'm making videos, I like to step back. And I know sometimes that's not good for YouTube when you're trying to build a channel, because you're supposed to ride the wave. Even with this, you guys, I didn't want to jump on this thing first thing in the morning and be like, Chris Rock got slapped. No, I want to scale back and look at the bigger picture. I want to really examine, you guys. That's just me being an investigator. I can't help it. It's never good to respond too quickly. So justice for Juicy. It's hard to capture everything and then really assess it properly, because I'm not a news reporter. If I was a news reporter, then it's first come, first serve. But you guys, I want to bring something different to this channel. I know it's not the most popular way to do it. I know sometimes you have to ride the algorithm, but to be honest, I want to give you guys something that you're not going to get anywhere else. But brother, do got to ride the wave a little bit. All right? We do got to ride it a little bit. But I hope that the way I present it, the conversations I have, bring a different approach and a different perspective. And because I can be a conspiracy theorist, and then not only that, my views on things in general can be very radical. Can be radical. And I'm not afraid to talk, right? I'm not afraid to express myself. And I try to do it in a way to where it's very productive. Even tonight we talked about what it's like being a man, what it's like having the influence of a woman, how dangerous, I won't say dangerous, how powerful a woman's influence is over a man. Her words. As a man, we want to prove ourselves to our women. And as a wife, what is your responsibility to your man as he goes out there and does his work? Keeping him in a stable mindset, the best you can. It brings wonders, right? Overall. And so I just like to look at things from a different perspective. Now we're going to look at the outcome of that slap. One slap, change history. So how you guys feeling tonight? I'm not going to keep you too long. I know. I hope you guys had a wonderful, amazing weekend. I'm going to jump off here and grab something to eat. I know. I've been hearing this. I think I've been really too radical with the Black Power talk. I think YouTube's been trying to shadow ban a brother. I've been hearing this a lot, that people not getting notifications when I post and things like that. So that sucks. Listen, the devil's a lie, though, right? We're going to keep pushing truth. We're going to keep pushing forward. It's unfortunate. Your class site, Nathan. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying, you guys. I want to bring something different. I think it's time for people who have a voice, who have some insight on things in life, need to start stepping up and speaking out. Because honestly, we don't know how long this platform will last. Just in general, YouTube, the ability to use YouTube in the way that we do. I always said hit the bell notifications. Someone said it's the algorithm. Sharisa said, all conspiracy means a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. Nothing wrong with that when you have evidence. Very true. I think the evidence is so important. There's some evidence to a lot of things that go on that should not go on. So that's another Nathan Daly. Yeah, that's why I put real in front of my name to separate myself from the other non-real Nathan Daly's on YouTube. It's always, you have a name, you think you're an original, and then you find there's like 100 other people who got the same name you got. I always shout out my mom because the name is biblical, and I remember when she first told me about the origin of my name, and I looked it up in Hebrew, and so Nathan was an amazing guy. He was an amazing prophet, and pretty dope what he did for David. Right, he kind of gave David the side eye, and tried to break down gave him some advice. I think it's interesting. I see myself living out that same type of idea, wanting to come out and give people advice, want to come out here and serve. So very interesting how our names can reflect, right? Someone said this is the book of Nathan, though, right? Now I'm over here telling my own story. To add. So definitely want to add and do something great, champion a great cause, exactly what I'm doing on this channel. For those who are new listening, my objective is to repair the relationship the Black community has with law enforcement, and then also repair the relationship police have with this nation, because there's a lot of things that are broken and need to be repaired. So it says Patreon. My plan is to, when I hit 10,000, to promote my Patreon. I set milestones for myself. I told myself, if I can truly make it to 10,000 subscribers and the people really want to hear what I have to say, I don't want to just throw a bunch of things at you guys for the sake of doing it, just to do it. So it's a way to challenge myself to stay focused, and also to see that this is content and things and a voice that people want to hear and people see value in. But thank you for asking that. If you guys want to support, joining the channel is a big, big help. Of course, subscribing and joining, of course, is definitely a big help. But thank you for asking that. I really appreciate that. That should be the name of my book. Yeah. Shout out to Shayla. She mentioned it, one of the subscribers, and she was like, "Oh, the Book of Nathan." Someone saying you should definitely write a book. And so I think I think that'd be really dope. The Book of Nathan, the story of how I got here, the scars, internal, external, where I've learned, who I've learned from, why I'm so passionate about helping others, and then why I believe I can actually make a difference. A story, in life, they say there's a saying that as a man, before you die, you should plant a tree, write a book, and have a child. And the idea is that these are things that live on after you're gone. It's your legacy: a tree, a book, and a child. Something that every man should aspire to do in his lifetime. When you think about this day and age, we still talk about some great renowned men and women who have left a mark on this world that'll never be forgotten. Never be forgotten. And one thing that they have in common is they definitely have a child. They definitely have a book of some sort. They did something very amazing. They did something really, really amazing. And that was, they left a mark on this world, and they changed the world in a way that, people are appreciative of. And, shout out to Tupac. He said, even though I might not see the things, I might not see the fruits of my labor, but I pray that the things that I'm doing today will have the impact or the influence or plant the seed that someone can then water and grow into the fruit, right? I think that's overall my idea. I don't know of the things that I do, but I plan on sharing my wisdom, my ideas for police reform, police relationships with the people, and just overall educating people in general on how to have better outcomes with law enforcement. There's a lot that needs to be fixed in the law enforcement side. They've been doing it a certain way for so long that, you know how it is, it's hard to tell a person who's powerful that they're right abusing their power. Has to be done delicately, because those in power don't ever want to give it up. You know, how benevolent of a person with power to turn around and decide that it's in their best interest to give it away. If you truly cared, truly loved the people you were serving, then you would relinquish that power in exchange for respect. People have lost respect for law enforcement. People lost trust. So those are the things that you have to work on building. And if you serving them is more important than your power, then you will show it. A good sign of faith, a good faith exchange would be to, right, decrease the power, in my opinion. In my opinion. So, oh, I will. Oh, I will. You know, I'm working behind the scenes. I kind of share things as they come up, you guys, but I'm definitely getting there. You know, it's about getting in the right room, having the right conversations. Some people don't want it to change, right? Some people don't want to give up the power. Some people don't want it to change. And so guess where the change has to come from? Comes from the people, you guys. Politicians only have the power that you give them. The people in power only have power that you give them. You guys, we give away all our power. All of it. I see it all the time. When we don't show up to these things, when we don't vote, that's power unrepresented. So, you know, my job is to educate you guys on what options you really have. Vote locally. Yes, that is probably the biggest form of power right there. The biggest form. It's what we're most absent at. You know, I think it was 1964 or 1967. Atlanta had no black police officers. What did they do? The church galvanized its members, black members, over 20,000 votes, I believe. They said, if you give us black police officers to patrol our black community, we will give you 20,000 votes. You guys, they got 8 black police officers, the first 8 black police officers patrolling Auburn Avenue here in Atlanta. It was like the Black Wall Street of Atlanta. The power of collective votes under a common objective. What would that look like? If we say, hey, here's 100,000 votes for Georgia. In exchange, we want these reform policies for the state of Georgia in regards to police. Who wouldn't listen? Who would not listen? You guys, that's how the game works. Power is in the collective, not as the individual. They would listen. Why? Because they want their job. It's rare that they actually care about you. They want the job. As Kiro Moxie said, I liked your interview with Kwame Brown, getting more black men into the police force. Yes, because it's power. That's where power resides. Some people are saying that they've gotten pushback. Police departments are like, we can't find any brothers. And then brothers are like, nah, we've been signing up. Y'all not trying to hire us. Listen, there's a way to solve that. A lot of us don't want to do the job. A lot of people shame and insult black men and black women for wanting to be police officers in our own community. And shout out to Kwame Brown. Definitely shout out to him for giving me the opportunity to speak on this platform, you guys. I plan on linking that interview either this week or next week for you guys to check out. So shout out to him. Shout out to Angela Stanton as well, because with her, I end up getting introduced to Kwame Brown. You know, these are people who are speaking out against a lot of atrocities in our community, and they're actually doing things about it. So shout out to them. You know, if you want to make change, you got to put yourself in position. You have to be in the room where these discussions are being had. You have to be present. You know, stand up. Some of us have a lot of talent in a lot of areas, but we don't stand up. Patricia, shout out to Patricia, one of my day one members. She was here when I had like 100 subscribers. We need to start with Black people respecting each other. Huh. Yes. Start by not walking on stages and slapping other Black people, right? We're special. Seems like many have forgotten. Many have forgotten. Many have forgotten. We have a lot to offer. We are special. We got a lot. We got a lot we can bring. You didn't. Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of on the cuff. Like I met Kwame Brown at an event, and we chopped it up for a couple minutes. And I said, hey, I'm working on this thing with police reform, and I want to talk to our community more about police relations. He was like, man, let's do a show. I said, shoot, heck yeah. And then that next day we did it. But I do plan on putting it up and linking it to the channel for you guys to check it out. So just stay tuned for the community tab. I'll do a review on it, some of the key points highlighted, and then the link to where you guys can watch the full interview. So, I'm going to end with that, you guys. We're at our 3-hour mark. Again, thank you so much to my moderators. Thank you so much for helping out. You guys know I could not do this without you. I really, really appreciate all the work that you guys do behind the scenes. Thank you for everybody who watched tonight. This is a great conversation. Shout out to my guest, Alan from We Need to Talk, you guys. He has an amazing channel. I love watching his videos. They're very interesting. He kind of reminds me of, well, no, I won't say that because I don't want you thinking. Go over to his channel and check out the way he interviews and the discussions that he has. Very healthy dialogue, and very sharp brother. So you guys, listen, thank you so much for tonight. This was great. I'm really curious to see how this thing is going to turn out with Will Smith. We saw the apology. We heard everything. I'm curious to hear what Jada has to say, right? She's going to save it for her Red Table Talk, and it's going to do about 30 million views, and it's almost like it's perfect timing. She's made herself relevant again, and I think she's going to use it as an opportunity to tell her story. How did she feel about what Will Smith did? How did his kids feel about what he did? Is this something that we're going to condone in our community? What is the backlash? How are people going to use this to their advantage? And how did the Oscars benefit? The Oscars benefited a lot from this. You've literally single-handedly revitalized the Oscars behind all of that. And so it's crazy. Great show about to clock out. All right, Miss Lady, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you. Please, next time, ladies, I want you guys to come up and give your take on Jada Pinket. Was she wrong? Should she have done something? Should she have expressed? How do you think she feels in this moment? Would you have wanted your husband to do that? Was that something, Miss Lady, if you're married, I don't know if you're married or not, but would you condone Will Smith's behavior, or do you think that it was unacceptable, right? Like, what are your, I'm just curious real quick before you go, if you're still on. The ratings of the Oscars was off the chain. Shout out to Courtney. But yeah, I'm really curious if you're still on. I'm really curious. Courtney, what do you think? What do you think, Courtney? Do you think he should have Will Smith should have done that? Or you think Jada should have tried to stop him? Because she was sitting there. He said, ladies be afraid to cam up. I don't know why. Y'all listen, I don't disrespect women. Y'all be on all the women that go to Kevin Samuels' channel and they sit there and get dragged. I'm over here. I want to have positive, healthy conversations. What did she say? She said, no, I would tell my husband we can catch him in the parking lot. Facts. Facts. Those things need to be handled behind closed doors. They need to be handled behind closed doors. And it's, I don't know if you guys remember, real quick, I don't know if you remember, Jamie Foxx is doing a stand-up. It was an old stand-up, one of his good ones. He hasn't really done that many, I don't think. His old ones. And he was telling a story about Mike Tyson. And he said Mike Tyson walked up on him at like a little party and was like, yo, he's like, yeah, hey man, I don't appreciate you telling them jokes about me. Like hit him with the Mike Tyson voice, right? And he said he threatened him. He threatened him. I think he hit him. I want to say, I don't quote me on that. It was a long time ago. But he said Mike Tyson approached him about a joke that he made. Oh, LL Cool J. And LL Cool J, that's right. I think LL Cool J hit him, but that was because he told the joke when they were doing the movie. I think it was the movie. Damn, what was the name of the movie? It was the movie when Jamie Foxx was playing a football player. It was that. It's a good impression. It was that, LL be licking his lips the whole time when he talked. And I think Any Given Sunday. Yo, Miss Lady be on point. Any Given Sunday. And he talked about how LL wasn't for the jokes. He wasn't for the jokes. And he walked up on him. Hey, Jamie. Brown, appreciate you, with that New York swag. Shout out to LL. That's the homie, though. Love his music. So, yeah. But what I like about it is, just like Alan was saying, like those things sound so much better when Chris Rock tells a joke on his next stand-up. Hey, y'all, I made that joke about Jada. Will caught me in the parking lot. Shout out to Miss Lady. Caught me in the parking lot and gave me a 2-piece combo. Gave me that 2-piece. This thing low. Gave me that 2-piece. And so I think, yeah, everybody got, Any Given Sunday. It was actually a really good movie. How I sound now, pound for pound. These mics. I need to get one of them professional joints. So I think that would have made such a greater story to tell. You have Miss Lady want to take the mafia boss approach. Right. But that's correct. You do it off camera, behind the scenes, man to man. Listen, I've had to check police officers before. After work. I don't do it in front of everybody. I've had to check some police officers for running their mouth, saying something crazy. I've had to check officers in front of people. I had an officer try to write a woman about 7 tickets. She had 3 kids in the car. He was getting ready to impound her vehicle. Now, I could say this off record. I mean, it's on record now at this point. It's a black woman. It's a black officer. I just pulled up just to check, make sure everything was straight. He was writing her 7 citations. I'll never forget this. She said, yeah, discretion. Patricia said, yeah, discretion is the goal. Absolutely. Check them like a man behind the scenes. He tried to write her 7 tickets. I looked at him. I said, what are you citing her for? Oh, this, that. I said, bro, what? I said, she just told you she lost her job. She can't afford, to get her tag done or insurance is lapsed or whatever. Oh, well, she can't do this and can't. I said, all right. I had to shut that down, you guys. I had to shut it down. You don't know what I did. I don't even want to repeat it. But I shut it down. She was on her way, right? Had to check an officer in the back parking lot. Was running his mouth in front of people. Met him in the back parking lot. So it does happen. Officers do correct other officers. It happens. But you do it discreetly. You do it discreetly. But yeah, he should have checked them behind the scenes. It would have made for a good story. And at the end of the day, it keeps our image intact as a people. But now people are like, listen, when he slapped him, people thought it was funny. Everybody laughed. They thought it was probably a part of the show. And Will Smith would have made it back to a seat and not said anything. People would have thought it was part of the show. It would have still got the ratings. Maybe not. People would have still talked about it. But now Will Smith could be facing criminal charges. Could be facing some civil charges. He could lose some endorsements. He could lose some movie deals. I mean, this thing can go a lot of different ways. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Some people don't care. That's the problem with some officers. They're disconnected from the people they're serving. That's why they do stuff like that. You guys, we don't get bonuses for writing tickets, that many tickets like that. I hardly ever wrote tickets. And the one day I tried to write a ticket, I got dragged down the interstate. That week, I haven't wrote a single ticket, none that week. They're like, hey, Nate, you haven't wrote any tickets lately. I'm like, damn. Early in the morning, let me go write this ticket. And then my ass, next you know, I'm unconscious on the concrete, on the highway. Writing a damn ticket caused me to have to retire, right? The actions of a person. But the reality is it came from me wanting to write a damn ticket. So anyways, I don't know. Life, man. We need more officers who have compassion. We need more people with compassion just in this world in general. Too many cold-hearted, senseless people. That's all. I wish all the evil people would just get their own island and live over there and let the people who want to be peaceful and loving stay to themselves. What a world that would be, right? If you have evil in your heart, you just get swept off into the evil island where all the evil people can live amongst themselves. I'm rambling. That's what I do when I'm hungry. Anyways, you guys, listen, thank you so much for joining. Sticking with me and having the conversation. Everybody who contributed, I really appreciate the donations, you guys. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Stay tuned. I have some interesting conversations coming up, especially in reference to our relations with police, our views, the fear mongering that goes on in our community and how that has a negative impact on us and our behaviors as it relates to our interactions with police officers, you guys. I had a little discussion last week and I was a little disappointed by some comments that were made and I had to address it. And I'm going to share it with you guys. Don't worry. That's going to be an interesting video. So stay tuned. I'm looking forward to the discussion. Stay tuned to some really, really interesting interviews coming up and bring some more officers up. I have an interview with an officer on Wednesday. I'm linked that in with you guys. Again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support, you guys. It means a lot to me. So with that being said, you guys, we're going to be up out of this thing. Stay tuned for some more great content. I'm thinking about this topic, this interview that I'm breaking down with the KKK member. I think that's going to be interesting. I think you guys are going to be interested to see what was said in that conversation and how they feel. But anyways, you guys, that's it. Listen, you guys, have a good night. God bless. I appreciate you. Stay tuned for the next episode. All right. Love y'all. Peace.